How's it going, guys? Welcome to the first edition of the Pixel FM podcast. Obviously, the big thing in the video game world right now is E3, and we're going to focus on that a lot. We're doing this podcast because, we all love games, and it's that time of year where you start thinking about the future, and we figured what better time than now to start a podcast. So my name is Steve, and I'm joined by...
This is Russell.
It's Chris. And Pete.
And today, like I said, E3 is kind of dominating, so we're going to focus the majority of this podcast on that. But I think first we're going to talk about what we've been playing recently. This week, we're recording this the 15th of June, and yesterday, the 14th, was the release of The Last of Us, one of the two big exclusive PS3 games coming out this year, the other being Beyond later this year. But The Last of Us, it's a huge game. You're seeing it marketed everywhere. I went on to ESPN.com this morning. It's all over the place. We just got back from the movies, and they're running the trailer there. None of us have been able to finish it. It just came out yesterday. I think I've probably played a little bit more than everybody in terms of single player. I know you, Russell and Chris, you guys have been playing multiplayer, so I don't know if you want to talk about that.
The multiplayer is so great. So brutal, so fast-paced. It's pretty much like playing Uncharted, except it's more bloody and violent. The executions are great in it. I mean, just everything, even the way they do the factions that you have to pick.
Yep. If you haven't played the single player and you go right into the multiplayer, you see the brutality right at the beginning. Because the first time you do an execution, your draw will hit the floor and you'll realize you're in for a bloody mess.
Now, is it actually like an execution mechanic, like a thing pops up above their head?
Yep. When a guy goes down,
that's not in single player.
Yep. When a guy goes down, instead of being down and dead, you have to either execute him or fill him full of bullets.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a multiplayer guy. I'll get that out up front. I play very little multiplayer. So I've been playing single player. According to my save file, I'm like 60% of the way through the game. Obviously, we're not going to get into spoilers. The game just came out. We don't want to ruin it for anybody. You sort of don't want to ruin it for anybody in this room. I'm not that all impressed with it yet. When you talk about games that are great stories... I think this year you're competing against BioShock. I think BioShock was a terrible game, but a wonderful experience and with great story and atmosphere, but just not a great game. Last of Us, it's a good game, and it's a good story, but I think compare it to some of the other stuff Naughty Dog has done, it's just not up there.
Very very dark.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a fun game. It's not supposed to be fun. It's just, it's something that you experience like Journey. Journey's not fun. I mean, some people will say it is. I know Chris thinks it's fun.
I love Journey. Nothing like floating around with your scarf.
Yeah. I mean, Journey's a beautiful game. It plays great. It's got a really interesting multiplayer mechanic, and it's an experience. It's one of those games where you sit down and play it in one sitting. I can't imagine breaking up my playtime with it.
I took two, but great. The second guy played it much more than I did, and he helped me out.
Oh, yeah, the scarf. Like, the guy that hopped into my game, his scarf was like 80 feet long, and like that dude knew what was up, so... Now, Pete, I know you're not a big PS3 guy, but have you played Journey?
I have not. I've seen videos of it, and I have a gist of what it's about. But I haven't, and now that it's not popular anymore, my desire has dropped to zero to get on my PlayStation and try to figure it out.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that we're seeing more and more of this happen, where games that are heavily narrative-based are lacking in gameplay. Like, a lot of people will say Heavy Rain. Like, Heavy Rain's not really a game. Heavy Rain is, they call it interactive drama, and that's basically what it is. It's a bunch of quick-time events, and that's what Beyond is going to be. Beyond Two Souls comes out in October, made by the same people. I cannot wait for that game, because I love Heavy Rain. I think Heavy Rain is about as good as it gets for the past, 5-6 years of video games. It looks like, Last of Us will be a good game. It'll be a game that I finish, and I'm like, you know what? It's a good game. It's probably just not a great game. It's Uncharted 3. It's not Uncharted 2. I think that's where it'll be. But other than that, in terms of what we've been playing, like, that's about it for me. I mean, I finished Persona 4 Golden a couple weeks ago on the Vita. Absolutely loved every second of it. It quickly hit my top all-time favorite games list. It's phenomenal from start to finish. If you have a Vita, pick it up. I don't know, anything you guys have been playing?
Truthfully, I've been spending pretty much most of my life on Terraria. And
the game is wonderful.
Pretty much can't stop.
Now you're playing PS3 version?
I'm on the PS3, and I mean, I recommend it to anyone. Pretty much adventure, if you like crafting, even for killing things. It's hilarious. Playing with friends, watching them fall to their death is great. Even Chris. I made
Nothing
Chris
like getting locked in a room with a guy who gives you a grappling hook and then says, "Give me the grappling hook back," and takes out the floor.
Oh, dude, I made him fall to his death. It's such a good game, and putting it up with Minecraft,
Yeah, I never played Minecraft.
I would play a lot more Terraria just because
Minecraft is more of a building tool, where Terraria is a full game.
Yeah, it's actually everything's there in it.
Yeah.
I got into Terraria because I had a laptop break on me, and I had to set it to get fixed, and I had a netbook, which, they're not powerful. You open up 2 internet tabs, and that thing just slows to a crawl. But that thing could run Terraria.
Nice.
So I played Terraria nonstop for 2 weeks till I got my laptop back.
So
I never went back to playing it, but I love the experience. It is great. I loved it. I don't know, Pete, did you play it on PC at all?
I played a little bit. I never got very far into it or got into it at all. I really regret having to say that twice in a row about 2 games. I play games. I haven't played that. I'm more into Minecraft in that regard than I ever was into Terraria.
Yeah, it's that slow time of year. It's tough to, we're talking about games that have come out a while ago for the most part, because it's that time of year where you go back and you get through your backlog. I think the only new game, aside from Last of Us, that I got into was I bought Gunpoint. Gunpoint is an indie PC game. It's a heavily stealth-based game, 2D side perspective. It has very little story, but it's a game where it's basically like a puzzle. You have a building that you're supposed to infiltrate, and you're supposed to hack these terminals, and it's presented to you like a puzzle. You're trying to figure out exactly what you need to do, what tools you need to have to be able to complete the task at hand. It is really well made. It's short from what I'm to understand, only 3 hours long. I think I'm 30 minutes, 40 minutes into it. The levels go by pretty fast. You don't really get stuck all that much, but it's really well made, and I followed it. The guy was making videos a year before the game came out, showing off bits and pieces of it. I was really excited. They released it. It's $10. Pick it up if you have a PC. If you have Steam, or you can go to the guy's website and pick it up. It's called Gunpoint. I don't know, Pete, you play a lot of the indie games that I play. I don't know if you looked at it or not.
Why do you keep doing this to me? No,
Yeah.
I haven't. I've seen it. I watched the videos when it was still a tech demo, but I have not picked that one up yet either.
Have you been playing anything?
Yeah, I got some mods, and I restarted Fallout 3, not New Vegas, but Fallout 3, and with the mods, the difficulty has gone up to a point where you die a lot, and then the mods are also on top of a game that was not well built, so I crash a lot when I'm not dying, and I haven't made any headway. But I also picked up the new Animal Crossing yesterday.
I would love to give that a shot. There's a joke that everybody's going to make fun of me for. I lost all my 3DS games. I don't feel like playing anymore until I find them. So Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem, you'll have to wait until I finally find my 3DS games. If you have a 3DS, don't put them all into one case and then lose it. That's my advice to you. But
Yeah.
Animal Crossing looks great. It looks really good.
Steve lost almost $200 in 3DS games, but the price is going down
So,
steadily.
4 games?
I'm actually looking forward to playing Animal Crossing as well, because hopefully they finally... I want to play Animal Crossing, but I really want to play it with other people. And I generally live in places that either it's just me playing games, or maybe one other person, he's not there all the time. So, an Animal Crossing that you can play online, and a true online play where I can actually interact with my friends who play video games rather than trying to find people in my house or, locally to play with, it's not easy. So hopefully this game has some more true online play, which is what I really want.
If you pick that up, is that going to be the first kind of big 3DS game you play? Because you've only gotten one recently.
I've got Fire Emblem, which I get into, and handhelds I'm notorious for buying handheld stuff. I don't generally play it all the time. I love my Vita. I use it more for watching videos and stuff, and the free stuff I generally jump in. I'll play it for a little while. I recently played. They gave Ninja Gaiden away with PlayStation Plus, and I played through the first level. Surprisingly, didn't die. Got all the way to the boss, and then, like usual, when you play Ninja Gaiden, he destroyed me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I buy handhelds, but I don't do much with them. The Vita, all the games I had, I didn't pay for because I had Plus. So they give you like Uncharted and all that stuff. So I finally got Persona, and the reason why I didn't play Persona until very recently is you have time commitments, work, school, whatever you're doing. It's a crawl. It's a very long game, and I finally had time, and it's the first game I've gotten really truly sucked into in a very long time, because I grew up playing RPGs like I think a lot of us did. We played Final Fantasy, games like Chrono Trigger, and when the PlayStation hit and everything went 3D, I don't like the visuals. They're just so off-putting that the last one I played was Final Fantasy VII, and I never went back. I really didn't play a traditional RPG up until Persona, I don't think. You can say Mass Effect's an RPG, you could say, Skyrim's an RPG, but I mean in terms of JRPG, turn-based, combat...
They're not the same.
It's not the same. So, Chris, I guess we'll move on to you.
I've mostly been playing... I played Far Cry 3 finally. It took me a little while to get into it just because Not being able to carry more than like 30 bullets at a time was a goddamn nightmare for me at the beginning of the game. I wasn't good with the accuracy because I didn't realize it actually has auto targeting on the PlayStation 3. After I figured that out, you wipe them down a little bit faster. But then as you gain, more abilities, and I don't use the abilities. I just shoot people. So it's a beautiful game, even on the PlayStation 3, and I definitely recommend it.
It's a game that you can play multiple ways. You can play it stealth, or you can play it just completely guns blazing. Because when I played it, I played through the opening maybe 5 hours twice, because I have it on PC, and then I also bought it on PS3 so Pete and I could play co-op. And I tried it differently. I tried stealth one way, and full guns just blazing constantly the other way, and you run out of ammo quick because those a lot of animals you're hunting, they take a lot of bullets. They're bullet sponges in that game, unfortunately.
I enjoy taking down the enemy camps and opening up that way along with the towers. The camps were cool because generally in the camp you got the cage that holds some type of animal, and there's nothing like taking a bow and knocking down the thing and watching the animal just destroy people. I want to find out if I can actually see the pictures I've taken, because I just take pictures of the tigers eating everybody.
Yeah, it's an interesting mechanic to have that, where you can just unleash a tiger and it just wipes out everything.
Now, the only problem I had is I tried to go the stealth route, and I always try to go the stealth route. So I'm hiding in a bush with a bow and arrow, and I have a shotgun in case if anyone gets near me. Well, when you shoot the first bow and arrow and 50 people get upset at you, and you only have 5, shots in your shotgun, there's really not much you can do.
The shotgun is a beast in that game. I always have one on me.
Yeah, speaking of that, not to go back to, going back to the game because it's out, Last of Us, that game, as realistic as they try to portray the violence in that game, those enemies take a lot to go down. There are guys that take 4 shotgun blasts point blank to go down, and they're not like armored special enemies. They're just the regular run-of-the-mill human enemies. And ammo is scarce in that game. I mean, it is rough. I finished a really tough part with nothing. No supplies, no health kits, absolutely nothing. And I had to really push the stealth for like the next 20 to 30 minutes I was playing, because you just don't get it, and a lot of people don't drop ammo, which doesn't make sense because, again, they're trying to make this game a realistic survival game, and these guys have weapons on them, but you can't collect them afterwards. I would have loved to have seen you be able to just pick anything you wanted out of people, because they make such a big deal about this. You're really scavenging for things.
Like
you're hanging on by a thread in this game. You're pushed to the human limits, and we talked about this earlier before we started this podcast, where there's a scene in the game, and I don't think this is going to spoil for anybody. The main character's offered food, and he turns it down. And this is a world where food is obviously a big deal. I don't get why you would... It's just one of those things where it breaks the immersion for a few seconds, and it takes you out of it. And I would like to see games get more into that, because I don't know if any of you guys played the new Tomb Raider, but the first hour of that game, she is shivering, constantly shivering. She's in rain, snow, sleet, horrible conditions. She's wearing just a pair of pants and a tank top, and just, she's gripping on her arms. The animation is really neat. And if you spin the camera around and look at her face, she's actually looking around at the walls, and it's kind of neat. It's like the first time you play Uncharted 2, where you walk up against a wall and Drake puts his hands out against the wall, or Altair pushes people out of the way in Assassin's Creed. It's just one of those cool things that you see. And then an hour into Tomb Raider, you're still in this high mountain, and she's totally fine. Totally fine. Doesn't take a jacket off a dead soldier, nothing. And it breaks it for me. It's just one of those things where I just don't like it sometimes.
So the spaghetti straps keep her warm?
Exactly. Yes, that's the point of the game. That's how it works. Has anybody been playing anything else, or is that pretty much it for what you guys have been playing?
I've been playing the Toy Soldiers Cold War on the Xbox Live Arcade with a buddy, and that's okay aside from it's not really optimized for crappy internet, which I have in spades.
Now, is that kind of like... I played a Toy Soldier game on my 360. It's sort of like a tower defense game.
Exactly.
Is it the same one?
Yeah, the Cold War... I think it's a little different. I haven't played the first one, but Cold War is set in the 80s of toys, I guess. My favorite bit being you can get special abilities if you have a good streak, and you have a commando that's Rambo with a minigun and a rocket launcher.
Is it actually him, or does it just look like him?
It's a commando.
Is it the Sega Master System Rambo that has a rocket stuffed down the barrel of his rifle?
An M60.
Yeah.
Two separate guns.
The Dynamite Duke.
Yeah, left hand, right hand. Somehow only using one hand each for
Is that open? Okay.
Only one of them.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. Anyways, moral of the story is there's nothing more pleasurable than blowing up tanks and planes as a one-man army. So a new Rambo game that only lets you be super overpowered would be awesome.
Is it like top-down because it's tower defense, or do you actually like get behind like third person?
It's like a third person. It has some top
Oh,
down.
so it's like Diablo?
When you're playing as a single character, it's like a third person.
Okay.
When you're doing the tower defense, setting up and taking control, or before you take control, it's isometric in a similar style of Diablo, where you're not in control of anything. You're just planting turrets. And you take control of a turret, and you go into more of a third-person view again.
The only thing I really play on a constant basis is Madden with a buddy online and NBA 2K13.
Yeah. Because the finals are going on, I've gone back and played NBA 2K13 a little bit.
I know a lot of people don't like Madden 13, but you're crazy and wrong. It's amazing. It's the best animation in a sports game, in a Madden game ever.
NHL 94 is better.
That's debatable, but...
No, I'm sorry, wait. Brett Hall Hockey on the Super Nintendo.
No.
I rented that game from a grocery store, and I have the rental case. I still have the rental case for that game. That game is awesome.
You're wrong on that one, my friend.
Ice hockey for the NES.
Yeah, Ice Hockey for the
No.
NES. No, wait a
fat guys
minute.
that
Blades
fall
of
down
Steel. Do you need me to pull out my Blades of Steel? I have Blades of
got it
Steel
right
behind
there.
me. Yeah, Blades of Steel.
Oh, you keep that Blades of Steel where you got it.
I love Blades of Steel. Blades of Steel is awesome because the punching. You're just fighting
That's
fools.
what they need in an NHL game. They need a fight button.
Oh,
I'm tired of it.
they're putting the Fight Night engine into the new NHL. I saw a video the other day. There's a trailer out, and they're putting Fight Night
Stick
into
fighting.
it's like, just turn the right stick and throw a fucking uppercut. It's just like, I don't know if they've ever been to a hockey game, but it doesn't work like that. Like, I've been to thousands of hockey
You
games
got the pull
live.
your underwear over your head move.
They're gonna
and,
they're gonna tear their shirts off and take it outside.
I love goalie fights. That's the best
Oh,
thing
I've
ever.
only seen one in person, and it was marvelous. They met at Center Ice. It was pretty
They
good.
took 5 minutes to get there too.
Yeah. No. Kind of one of them just kind of like bum rushed the other one.
Nice.
Like he was into it. Like he was ready to throw down. And, yeah, it was a good time. Yeah. But I think we'll probably wrap it up for stuff we've been playing. We'll take a short break and we will get back with E3, and that's going to dominate the rest of this podcast. Stay tuned. Alright guys, we're back, and we're going to get into E3 now with the Xbox One. This is the one that everybody's been talking about, and unfortunately they're not talking about it in a positive way. We're going to run through games first, then we'll get into system and all that kind of stuff. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Rise. And Rise was a game that was originally announced, I believe, either last E3 or the E3 before that as a Kinect game. It has now returned, and it is a third-person behind-the-shoulder game that has a lot of quick-time events and a lot of button presses at specific times. I just get the feeling that by looking at this game, that's going to get really repetitive, and it's just going to be the same combo over and over and over again. And every time you go in for a kill, it slows down, and I can't imagine doing that for any length of time. So I have to imagine that either this game is really short, which it probably is, it's probably under 5 hours long, or it's going to have something else and they're going to show it. But if this is a launch title, then they should have shown what makes this different than every other game now and not wait. So I don't know if you guys want to talk about it. It didn't really impress me. It didn't look that great, and I don't think it's going to play that great.
I mean, on top of what you said for the launch titles, no one really showed anything too big. Nothing to even sweep me off my feet. I mean, there was a couple, but...
No Prince Charming in there.
It wasn't as big as it normally is for me. I don't
Not
know about
for
you
launch,
guys.
but I thought Rise was a cool looking game. At the beginning of it, they show they're not Spartans, but they're in formation and they're moving.
It's Roman legionnaires essentially.
Okay, yeah. But that part was cool, and it looks nice. It looks like a good console game. The QTEs are going to get annoying. Yeah, that'll get annoying.
I definitely agree. I actually heard something about the QuickTime events that blows my mind. Apparently, whether you succeed or fail in your QuickTime event, you still get the kill, the animation. There's no stumble, there's no anything. The difference between succeeding and failing, apparently, is only going to be a cash or XP bonus.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
And that was always the cool
I'm
thing
sorry.
about God of War, too. When you failed one of those Q2Es, you get the shit kicked out of you by somebody. And that was the cool thing about failing, because I usually did.
Yeah. If there's no failure, then there's no real winning.
What's the point of the QTE then?
Yeah, it's I'm going to walk in and I'm going to kill him. I'm not going to hit a button and it's still gonna work.
I mean, I get it. I get that they want to guide you into these very specific things because there are too many games out there where you just mash buttons and cool shit happens. But it's one of those things where you want a more guided approach, and that way you can get the more cinematic-looking kills. You can get the knife through the throat and things like that. And I have to imagine, I don't know if any of you guys have been watching, but I just recently got into Game of Thrones, and one of the things they really emphasize about Game of Thrones is that sword going into a throat and just, throats getting slashed and blood going everywhere. And that's all I could think about when I saw Rise. And the only way you could really get that is if you slow down time so you get a good look at what's going on. But the problem with that is that's great for television, that's great for movies, that's not great for a game where you have to stop every 3 seconds to look at the same animation over and over and over and over again.
Well, plus it seems like game companies are too afraid to make a game too mature.
I don't think it's that. I mean,
Naughty Dog's not.
Naughty Dog's not. No, there's plenty of brutal fucking games out there.
Yeah, I mean, Naughty Dog is one that always kept it pretty clean. Crash, Jack. They were always, light, kind of fun-hearted. Even Uncharted. But when the first time I saw The Last of Us, and I'm a big Uncharted fan. You talk to my friends, they know I'm an Uncharted fan. I wear Drake's ring. It's out there.
He's really into Drake, and not only that, he's really into Nolan North.
Yes, he likes anything Nolan North was. When I heard BioShock the first time, and this is a little off topic, sorry, but the first time I heard Booker's voice, I almost went out and bought the game because I thought it was Nolan North. Sadly, not Nolan North. Haven't bought BioShock.
Troy Baker is good, but I think just before we get back on track, just on the topic of voice actors, I think it's really great that Troy Baker he's in The Last of Us. He plays Joel in The Last of Us.
But you can't tell it's Troy Baker.
He has a very thick Southern accent. He's a Texas accent. But there comes to a point where Nolan North, Jennifer Hale, who plays female Shepard in Mass Effect, and Troy Baker, they need to go away. We need to have other people voicing our protagonists in these games.
You always need Nolan North.
You don't need Nolan North. In Mafia 2, he plays so many of the pedestrians, he fucking talks to himself. He's on a street corner blabbering to himself while you're trying to hail a taxi. So you got some killings to do. But he needs to go away. And I think he had an interview where he was like, I should be in more games because, I'm a true video game voice actor. I give a shit about video games. These other people are just into for a paycheck. That's all fine, well, and good, and he's very good at what he does. He's very one-dimensional, though. But you need to have a break. You need to have other people voicing your games. And I don't think we saw a single Nolan North game during E3, and I'm really happy about that.
That's a sad day.
Unless he's got a very weird accent now. But if anybody else has any comments about Rise, we'll move on to our next game, which is
Rise from your grave. That's it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The next thing on the list is a game we don't know what this is. It's a game about touching ears. And it's a game...
Ears with an E.
It's a game about touching ears and crashing the Titanic into a bridge. What I'm talking about is Quantum Break, the new game from Remedy. They are the people that brought you Alan Wake.
When it comes out in 4 years, it'll be pretty good.
Here's the interesting thing, though. I just have to laugh. So this is a game and a television show. When you buy the game, you get the television show with it. I guess it's season 1. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be on television. I think you just get like a Blu-ray and it has the episodes in it. And the guy is doing an interview with, I think, game trailers on YouTube. And he goes, it's designed to play, okay, you play chapter 1 of the game, then you watch chapter 1 of the show. You play chapter 2 of the game, you watch chapter 2 of the show. Why is it not just built in? Why do I have to change discs? Why do I have to do that if that's the point? If you want me to watch this show, then just play it in a row, and that doesn't break my experience, because then you're physically making me to take a disc out, and maybe I don't feel like doing that. It's a really lazy thing to say, but it's just one of those things where do you really want to have to stop? How long are these chapters? If it's 10 minutes, do you want to stop all of a sudden and move in? What if you're really loving the game? You're really loving the momentum, and you want it to carry over, and then you got to stop and deal with it. What if the disc doesn't read all of a sudden, and then you're just dicking around with that for 10 minutes?
I think Microsoft really could have countered on this and used the Kinect or in some way that when instead of taking the disc out or switching to it on the disc, that they could have just been like, at a certain point that your Xbox picks it up off their network and runs it from the cloud that they're claiming everything comes from.
Ish stream.
Why not use that and be like Xbox Quantum Break Part 1? use what you have.
Theoretically, you should be able to do that.
Yeah.
I should be able to say Battlestar Galactica Season 2, Episode 4.
Yeah.
And if I have it in my library, it should start. I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's
as of right
maybe
now,
not.
the Kinect will only read stuff that's in your instant queue. So you can't search your instant queue by voice commands, as far as I know. So if you got everything in your voice in your instant queue, then you can queue up whatever you want.
Yeah, that's not what I do. Anyways, with Quantum Break, the other thing is that I noticed it's going to happen in a lot of games now. The characters, especially the face models, have made their way into the Uncanny Valley and don't have any signs of escaping anytime soon. And it's creepy. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer, at least recently again.
The ear-touching trailer or the other trailer?
No, the ear-touching trailer is creepy in general.
Because that woman looked like a robot. I mean, I know she was real, but she had Uncanny Valley.
The cool thing about Quantum Break that I saw was actually at E3 when they're like stop motion and the one guy's walking around and grabs her arm and pulls her out of the frozen frame. I thought that was really cool, and like she's freaking out, which obviously you would if you were frozen in time, and then you unlock and some dude's grabbing you.
Is that the game or is that a cutscene?
Yeah, if it's probably a cutscene, sadly, but it would be a cool mechanic if that was something you actually did. Like hold this button down or let her go or she's gonna die.
Any other thoughts before we move on to our next game on our list?
I have nothing good for Quantum Break, so...
Well, the next on the list is something that you knew you were going to see. The reason why you're going to see this game is because cars are easy to make pretty. We're talking about Forza.
I like cars.
I like cars. Unfortunately, that's PlayStation 4. But,
still the same thing.
Yeah, they bring a fucking car out.
It's a beautiful car. Absolutely gorgeous car. One of two. I mean, the fact that they took 10 minutes to point out the fact that, hey, we've got one of two cars on our stage. Eat it, Microsoft. Sorry. I don't care that you've got one of two cars. It's gorgeous.
Drivatar.
He's
in your house. Cloud. He's in your house. He's in the cloud. He's in your basement. He's in your bedroom. He's in your closet. He's watching you. He wants to know what you're doing in your car, and he's going to mimic it when you're not around.
Microsoft, that's called AI.
Yeah, I think you just described the Kinect.
The problem with Drivatar is they're like computer-controlled cars are going to play like players. Everybody drives like an asshole in a racing game, and everybody crashes 10 seconds into a race. That's the problem. Everybody's in the fucking wall. They're in the dirt. They're hitting the tire stack on the side. Like, that's horrible. I want people to race like they're actually supposed to race. And I guess maybe I should have brought this up in the first part of the podcast, but I've been playing Grid 2. Grid 2 is great because the AI drives like they're supposed to drive. They're aggressive on the final lap when you're trying to overtake them. I've never played Forza. I will admit, never played Forza. I don't have an Xbox. I've never been an Xbox guy. Maybe the games do that already. I don't know. But I think if they already do it, then they should stick with it and not make everybody play like a player, which is terrible.
Yeah, my Drivatar is going to get really frustrated in the first lap, turn around, and try to ram my friend's head on. And it's going to be great.
Like half the people who play online.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's further than I get. I mean, in Forza, I can barely make it around the first turn because I'm not used to the
I do love the Forza
realistic
line.
turns, you know.
Forza line is nice.
The driving line that tells you where you're supposed to go.
Forza driving line.
Yeah, most games have that. I think Gran Turismo even has that, doesn't it?
They took it from Forza.
Yeah.
And Forza does it well.
They took it from NASCAR 98.
Oh, okay.
Which has the greatest soundtrack of all time.
One song.
It's one song and it's on repeat, and it's Flirting with Disaster by Molly Hatchet.
Hatchet, baby!
The game is great.
Sang that song for 500 laps at Daytona.
My father used to yell at me because I only played that game driving the wrong side on the track, while Flirting with Disaster blasted out of my television speakers.
It probably took me 3 days to realize it was the only song. But after I did, I loved it.
Yeah, I don't care. That game is
matter.
great. That game is great. That soundtrack is great.
One
Everybody's
song.
like, oh, Final Fantasy has a great music. Chrono Trigger has a great music. NASCAR 98 has the greatest soundtrack of all time.
He's wrong.
Next on our list is a game that's an interesting game to think about because it's made by a company that was exclusive to Sony. I'm talking about Sunset Overdrive, which is probably the brightest and most colorful game we saw, but a game where you really don't know what it is because we just saw a CG trailer that didn't have any gameplay, and they didn't talk about the game on stage. They didn't have anybody come out from the studio and talk about it. It was just a quick trailer that you saw. I assume it's like Team Fortress 2 or Gotham Imposter or something like that is what I'm assuming it's like.
I think it's gonna be more like Gotham, if anything.
Yeah.
It looks cool, but
it looks like Brink.
You put zombies into blue and orange.
Blue and orange. Every game is blue and orange. Every movie poster is blue and orange.
It looks pretty, but you know,
orange.
shooting people with your gun that's fueled by soda by soda.
is an energy drink. Energy bullets.
At least it's different.
Power bullets.
It was cool looking. I'm a Sony fanboy at heart. I like all games. I have all the game consoles for the most part, but I hope Microsoft stuffed their pockets to get this. I really do, because if they didn't, they're making the wrong move.
Yeah, this could be the one game that makes the Xbone a seller, but realistically, even Brink looked fun when it was announced and they showed trailers, and I bought 2 copies of it, and I played about an hour overall.
Horse people.
They make everything look good in trailers, man.
Am I the only person that liked Brink? I thought Brink was
I love
great.
Brink.
I thought Brink was great.
I bought it the day it come out, and I did everything I could in that game.
The reason why I bought it is because they had it for half off on Steam and let you play it free from Friday to Sunday.
Nice.
I bought it, and by the end of it, I downloaded it. By the end of it, I bought it. I didn't play a lot of it, maybe 15 hours. I had a good time with it. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was fast. It was fluid. The kind of parkour Mirror's Edge mixed with it was really neat. And I like games where you can customize your character.
The customization.
Yeah, I like
really
games where you can customize your character. There's a reason why the WWE games, I spend an hour and a half creating a character, like UFC or Fight Night or something like that,
Yeah.
Putting yourself into the game is amazing, too.
I don't want anybody to look like me. I just want a grizzled old man with a gun. Just, broken, bitter, divorced man with a child that hates him. And he sends a letter on her birthday every year.
We're back on The Last of Us again.
We're talking about the wrestler starring Mickey Rourke, only with a gun and a vengeance. And a vendetta for society. That's what we're talking about.
As long as you get Marissa Tomei, let's go.
Yeah. So next on the list is a game. This was great. So we should probably say that Russell, Chris, and I, we work at a video game store. And we, obviously we're interested in this. We work at a video game store. Video games are a huge part of our lives. So we're watching these press conferences as they unfold. And I'm sitting in my office, and I'm looking at this trailer, and it looks amazing. It's just sand everywhere, beautiful sand. And then this alien rises out of the deep, and I'm like, this is a new IP. This could be really great. And then Master Chief takes off his poncho, and I don't give a shit instantly. I don't care.
Drained.
I had no idea what it was, but Steve's right. It was cool looking. You get the trudging through the desert. Really cool looking. The cloaked character, and he's very dark and mysterious. And it's Master Chief, and everybody knows the ending.
Yeah, it's not like he's not in his armor. What does a cloak do? It's the suspense cloak.
I didn't quite understand that.
I don't get it either. I mean, maybe for dramatic effect,
it was to protect his armor from the sand.
Pure dramatic.
So he couldn't get scratched.
Well, he didn't want to lose his paint. He didn't want to scuff up his paint job.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he just had it done before he left to go through the desert.
I'm not a Halo fan. I played the original, and I played Reach. Reach is the only one I enjoyed. So I don't know the lore. I don't know the story behind this, the universe. I've never seen a desert in any of those games. Maybe I'm talking completely out of my ass, and somebody listening right now is like, "You dumb idiot! There are deserts everywhere in the Halo universe." But I guess if they're gonna take it somewhere new, that's great. But it's still gonna be Halo. It's gonna play like Halo. It's gonna look like Halo. It's Halo. Just like Call of Duty, just like Battlefield, it's your first-person shooter of choice, and it's the one you're going to stick with and the one you're going to play. And that's great for people that like Halo. Just doesn't do anything new to get me, as someone that doesn't play Halo, to want to play it. And I think that's what they should be focusing on with a new system. If you have a new system coming out, you have an established franchise, you should be trying to get new players into it. This does nothing to get me into it.
Yeah, I actually played Halo, all the Halos, through the Halos, and I'm not greatly impressed by the trailer either. He's still suffering or mourning the loss of Cortana from Halo 4. Spoiler alert. Sorry about that. Regardless,
thank you.
I hate you.
I was going to play it.
Yes. Put it right on your PlayStation and boot it right up. And obviously, if you have played the Halo 4, you know that the weird thing that rose out of the ground was a Forerunner, just like in the last game. And
Was that what that is?
Yeah, it's part of the Forerunner race, and I wasn't a fan of the baddies in Halo 4.
See, I missed the beginning of the Microsoft conference. In all honesty, I swear to Christ, I thought it was the Metal Gear trailer. Because he comes up out of the ground, and I thought he was a Metal Gear.
Oh, yeah.
Because I missed the beginning of the thing. I was like, oh my god, they got
way too excited.
Yes, I did. I got really excited, and then they pop off the thing, and it's Master Chief, and I was like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah. the question I have is that Halo 5?
Yes.
Is
Because
that...
you see the 5 in the clouds.
Oh, did they? Okay,
Yeah,
I wasn't paying
as soon
attention.
as you see
Because
the
for all I
logo,
knew, there
you
was a
could-
teaser for the Steven Spielberg, I'm going to have absolutely nothing to do with this except for in-name only television series that's coming out.
That's very true.
We got to move on to a game. This game is something that made some press earlier this year. The trademark was renewed, and sometimes when trademarks get renewed, that means, oh, there's a new game coming, or it just means they want to retain ownership of this to make sure they keep it within their family. Obviously, this ended up turning into a new game, and a game I don't think anybody thought this is what we were going to get. But all of a sudden, the screen turns green, and KI pops up, and it's Killer Instinct, and people are going nuts. And even I went nuts, because I played a ton of Killer Instinct in the arcade in the 90s, played a ton of Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo. I'm turning behind myself right now, and I'm pretty sure I have Killer Instinct complete in box on my shelf. It's a game I love, a game I played a ton of, and I was excited to play this. I'm not now, because it's microtransactions, it's free to play, they're going to nickel and dime you. I have zero interest in playing their game.
Now what is it? You open up one. You have one character for free.
You get one character for free, and then you have to buy every other character. I imagine they're going to make you buy levels as well.
Do they have a price on that, or is that going to be more?
Mortal
than what the game
Kombat
is?
characters are $5 a piece.
Yeah, Injustice. Yeah, Injustice is coming out. Like Scorpion just got released DLC for Injustice. It's $4.99.
$5 a piece.
I'm guessing they will probably do like a $29.99 season pass or something like that. I guess that doesn't make sense because I doubt they're going to be releasing characters as they go along. But I assume it'll be, hey, you buy all of them up front, you save 20%, or you could buy them individually. It's weird for a fighting game to do that. It's just so strange.
It's a model that they're pulling from games like League of Legends and things like that. I bet you they'll sell the characters individually, and then they'll sell special costumes individually, and then they'll sell special ways to customize your characters individually. It's all about monetizing, and it kind of drives me nuts.
We should ask Capcom how that went.
Yeah, Capcom.
Well, you can't blame them for doing it. Everybody wants to make more money. But with a fighting game, okay, let's say you have 20 characters in your game. Give us at least 10, and then you can go forward from there. But it's just weird. I understand free-to-play. I think free-to-play works a lot of the time, but not for a fighting game. It just... Yeah. I understand why they're doing it. You gotta start somewhere. Everybody's gonna try it for every different type of genre, but it's one of those ones where it's not gonna work, and I think they had a lot of people excited about this game, and now a lot of people just don't care.
Well, it's important to say that it's also not being made by Rare.
Yeah, it's being published by Rare. It's being made by another studio that has
Double
a
Helix.
horrible track record. Movie license games, just garbage shovelware for the most part.
The thing that really gets me about the having one character unlocked is everybody has the same character. They could have randomized it so it'd be something interesting.
Or it could have been your character. If you get really into a fighting game, you typically find your character.
Yeah, you get it free to play and you get to choose one and he's yours.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
But the thing about it is, you get all the people day one free to play. You're gonna hop online and fight the same character versus the same character.
Yeah, we'll talk about the free to play stuff a little later because I think someone else has the upper hand on free to play.
Yeah, I think what's going to end up happening with Killer Instinct is people will get it, maybe they'll buy a couple characters, and it'll become a throwaway.
Yep.
It'll be a game that maybe they go back to later on just a little bit. It'll be a game that's popular early on for the first few days, but it's never going to become more than anything casual. And that's a shame, because if they did this right, they could have reintroduced a franchise that a lot of gamers don't know, because we're all old enough to remember when the original came out, and certainly old enough to remember when the N64 version came out, but a lot of people don't know what Killer Instinct is. And this would be a great opportunity to get people on the hook to buy a new Killer Instinct a year down the line, or a year and a half down the line, or whatever it may be. And if you're going to treat people like this, it's just probably not going to happen. And with that, I want to transition into a game that I think is quite interesting. And it's one of two games that really impressed me in terms of their exclusives. This is Project Spark, essentially their version of a Little Big Planet or a Peter Molyneux-style game of From Dust. There's terraforming, you're creating your world, creating different events in the world, I assume. I'm guessing it'll be character customization like Little Big Planet. But the problem with this is I don't need to buy their system to play it because it's been confirmed for PC. So
without Kinect.
You're without Kinect. You're giving me a game that I'm interested in, but now you're also giving me a reason that I don't have to buy your system to play it.
Yep.
And that's a horrible, horrible thing to do on their end.
A lot of the games that we talk about are going to be that way.
You're starting to see more console exclusives, but also on PC.
Yep.
And if you have a PC, you can still play it.
Microsoft says most of their games are exclusive to Microsoft, but then it's on PC anyway.
Yeah, it's a Windows 8 game. You are going to have Windows 8 to play it, which I guess puts a quandary for me a little bit. My gaming PC is Windows 7. My laptop is Windows 8. I don't have a really powerful laptop, so maybe I won't be able to play it. But I guess if I really wanted to play it, I could just quickly install Windows 8 as a separate operating system on my PC and boot it if I want to play that. Because there's another game that they're doing that's Windows 8 as well, which is the new Halo top-down game that's PC exclusive to Windows 8. That looks interesting, enough to screw around with it a little bit. It's not a game I imagine I'll get invested in. But it just seems strange that you're going to do that when you have a new system coming out. Make people buy the system. Don't give them a way out to play it another way.
Project Spark looks cool. When Little Big Planet came out and they first announced that game, I went crazy. And when that game came out and they delayed it a week, I flipped out because I wanted it that day. Russell knows we used to work at a certain large gaming store as well together. And I blazed through the whole first half of this game, and for you who've played Little Big Planet, probably know where I got stuck. I got stuck on the wheel towards the end of the game. You know what I'm talking about if you got stuck there too. Spark looks cool. It's one of the 2 games that the 360 has that looks cool that would make me want it at some point.
Yeah.
Hopefully when they drop the whole you have to have Kinect in your house.
Well, yeah, it's not like you can get it and play offline either.
Yep.
So...
Yeah, I don't know, Pete, if you have anything you wanted to make, I don't know if you saw the trailer or anything.
I did, but you hit on every topic I was thinking of. The only thing is, like when Minecraft came out with the Redstone, it could be really interesting to see what the user communities are actually going to create with this.
Yeah, they didn't say if there's going to be like user-created worlds that you could plop into. I assume that would make sense. I can't imagine they wouldn't do that.
The story I heard, there was a tester who made a piano or a synthesizer and made it the ability to record what you were doing and play it back, which they didn't have in the engine yet. So he used what was in the engine to make a playback ability, which sounded neat. And if it had that kind of flexibility in an early stage, it might be interesting in the future. But it could just be a gimmick because, it's not like a gamer is saying this. It's a person who's trying to sell what they've made.
I really hope it does well because I like creative games. I think creative games have lost a lot of traction in today's gaming scene. So I hope it does well. I really do.
Moving on, it's a game we're not going to talk a lot about. It's more of the not controversy, I'm sorry, that's a poor choice of words, but the genre surrounding it. It's World of Tanks. It's a free-to-play game, massively, massively popular on PC. It's coming to Xbox 360 and Xbox One. If you've played World of Tanks, you know what it is. It's a tank game. You shoot things, you blow things up with a tank. Whatever. We don't need to get into it.
Pew pew.
Yeah, exactly. Pew 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 pew. The topic at hand, though, is free-to-play games on console. Sony is locked in PlanetSide 2. They have Dust.
Warframe.
And Warframe. And Microsoft, as of right now, the only one they've really talked about is World of Tanks. I assume they're going to get more.
Sony also has DC Universe.
Yes, they already have DC Universe, which is on PS3 now. Will go to PlayStation 4. I think you're going to start to see console manufacturers want to get these big free-to-play games. League of Legends is huge. League of Legends, if you're not a PC gamer, and then you're probably not going to follow the stories about it. I don't play League of Legends personally. It's a game that it's very confusing to me. I sort of understand how they work, but I don't think I'm ever going to take the time to learn how to play them. But I can understand how popular they are. They are dominating what is being played in the world of PC. And if somebody locks them in, if Microsoft gets them, if Sony gets them, it's going to be a big deal. And you can sit back and play devil's advocate and say that's a mouse and keyboard game. You're not going to want to play with a controller. I'll give you that. You're not going to want to play that with a controller. But if they can just hold that over somebody else's head and say, we have League of Legends, we have whatever, and it is the most widely played game in the world. We have Dota 2 or something like that. That is a huge bullet point on a piece of paper. It doesn't matter if people think the game is good with the controller. It's a bullet point on a piece of paper that looks good. It a shareholders meeting when you're talking about investors, and whoever gets to that first is going to have an upper hand with things.
Bowling for Red's Apple Ale. Steve's got a good point. My biggest problem with the League of Legends and Dota and that stuff are the people who own PCs aren't going to play it on console. So granted, yeah, you're going to have the people who are always interested in it, but they don't have the PC like me to play it. But I never hear anything good about League of Legends. The only thing I hear about League of Legends is the douches who play it.
Yeah, it's supposed to have a pretty bad community.
Yeah, if you're a beginning player, you're not going to have fun. Because they're just going to beat you down, and they're not going to teach you how to play the game. This kind of goes back to a mag on the PlayStation 3. And when you play this game, and it's massive, and you need to learn all these controls, and nobody's helping you on it, that you need someone to try to teach you. And luckily, I had someone try to help me with it. And in League of Legends, the only thing I hear are people just tell you to go away.
Yep. Yeah, I played League of Legends for about a year, and I have a crappy internet connection once again, and I don't have talent whatsoever. And those combined mean I've played for about a year, and where I should have some skill, I was still not well liked. And I played with my friends, like people I know in person.
They don't give a shit about you.
No, they were not happy with my style and character choice. Even if I did what they wanted to, they were still not happy. There was no making people happy. That's one of those games that it's very competitive, and one player can win or lose it for the whole team, and losing is much more widely remembered than winning. So, League of Legends, I wouldn't consider that a selling point, just for the fact that the community should be the biggest asset, and it's the biggest detriment to the game itself.
Well, going into another game, it's a franchise that's returning to Xbox as an exclusive. It's a game that was, multi-platform for its second iteration, Dead Rising 3. And Dead Rising 3, it's a game, I don't know if people really wanted a Dead Rising 3. I think there are people that enjoy that series and they'll play one. But the way that it looks, I don't think is what fans want. It's very serious, very gritty looking. I assume maybe they're just being like, haha, there's still humor in it. We'll see some more ridiculous things as it comes out. I don't imagine it'll be out launch window. I assume this is probably a game for next year, maybe holiday next year, summer next year. Then you would actually make a perfect summer game, when there's nothing coming out. But it just seems like the feedback I got from it were people saying it's not the Dead Rising I remember. It's not the Dead Rising I want. And if it's the game you don't want, that's when you have a problem.
The thing that I saw that was cool about it, it's all brown and gray, but whatever, is when he was driving around the car and as he ran over more zombies, when they finally slowed the car down, they actually broke out the windows and attempted to get him. That was the coolest thing I saw on it.
Yeah, I like that too. The other thing I really liked is you can combine items on the fly. You do it similar to the Wii U ZombiU game where you sit down, you crouch, and you start taping your items together, or doing whatever it does to make something new without having to run to a workbench. That sounds kind of awesome. From the looks of it, though, from the UI, you might be limited to 4 or 5 different items at a time, which would be an interesting addition. Usually had a good handful of slots to use overall, and cutting that way down could mean something entirely different. You'd think that items would last longer, but you see them right in the trailer using a gun that breaks. Like the classic, I use this weapon too much, it broke in half, and it disappeared. And
a gun broke in half?
A gun broke in half.
I mean, the weapons in Dead Rising usually go kind of fast.
Yeah.
They never really last long.
Yeah, it's the same in The Last of Us. Every melee weapon has a certain, it has a bar.
A breaking point.
And it breaks at that bar, which is interesting because it'll break mid-combo. Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's an easy way to add immersion to your game, to have to stop while other events are still going on, so you rummage through your backpack or whatever it is.
Last of Us does that in multiplayer and single player.
Yeah.
The other thing before you switch topics, Dead Rising 3 is going to use smart glass integration.
We're going to talk about smart glass in a little bit.
Yeah,
we got that. We got a whole section set aside for smart glass.
In the trailer in general, it looks kind of clunky to set down a controller to. pick up your phone or whatever
Yeah.
you're using to do that.
Yeah. The next one we're going to talk about was the game that started all this, and it seems odd that we're talking about this midway through this. Metal Gear Solid 5. It's a game that I think there's a lot of weird stuff surrounding this game, because originally they were like, oh, it's 2 games. It's Ground Zeroes and Metal Gear Solid 5. And we didn't know what Metal Gear Solid 5 was because they put out this trailer called The Phantom Pain. And it was a really cool trailer, but you could tell it was Snake, and you could tell it looked like Metal Gear. And it turns out that Ground Zeroes and Metal Gear Solid 5 are one and the same. I assume that Ground Zeroes is the prologue to Metal Gear Solid 5. They show this. It's not an exclusive, but it was a big game for Microsoft to show because it's a traditional franchise. It's a franchise traditionally associated with Sony. You had Metal Gear Solid 4 exclusive, as well as all the other ones. The only thing that Microsoft ever got was, I believe, they did Metal Gear Solid 2 on the original Xbox, and they did Rising Revengeance Rising Revengeance came on everything. It's a game that it's not a system seller, I don't think, but it's a big game that people are going to buy.
It's huge for Microsoft to put Kojima on the stage. It made me sad being a big Sony guy to see Kojima standing next to Don Matrick. Nice jacket. But it just took a little bit out of me. It looked nice. The sandstorm was cool. The whole stealth horse,
Oh, yeah, hanging off the side?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for a new Metal Gear Solid game. I'm kind of curious on why he wakes up with a hook on his arm, but
I'm assuming that's probably giving away too much of the story. I'm guessing at the end of Ground Zeroes, he's left for dead, and he wakes up in this.
Supposedly, he's been in a coma for like a couple of
the
years.
trailer. There's a very long trailer for Metal Gear Solid 5 that shows the doctors tending to him, and he's all bandaged up and everything, and basically he wakes up. He wakes up periodically, and then all of a sudden he wakes up and the world's gone to hell, and that's when you see him dragging himself, along with the hook and all that stuff. I'm not a Metal Gear Solid fan. They are doing nothing to make me want to play this game. That's fine. Just some games aren't for me, and this is one of them. I played Revengeance. I love Revengeance because I worship the Platinum Throne. Everything that Platinum Games does is gold, in my opinion, although I've never played Bayonetta. But
I think a seal bit his hand off.
A seal?
A loose seal?
A battle seal.
The only other thing that's interesting to know, they're replacing the longtime voice actor David Hayter with
24.
Yes, phone booth, baby.
Yes, phone.
There's no time.
We need phone booth. The video game. Colin Farrell is just a scumbag, and Kiefer Sutherland is gonna bring him back.
It's not a bad choice if you can't get. I mean, they could have obviously gotten David Hayter because he's not like looking for work. It's not a bad choice. Kiefer Sutherland will be perfectly fine as Snake.
The only thing I can think about is Kiefer Sutherland, and most people are not going to get this reference. I understand that. There's a Canadian show called Corner Gas, and Kiefer Sutherland, despite being a big American television star, is actually Canadian. And there's a scene where one of the characters in Corner Gas accidentally calls him, I think, and he picks up the phone. He's got this very gruff voice. I'm just expecting that's his Snake voice.
Oh, he's going to have to be gruff. You can't change it too much.
Well, they're changing Sam Fisher for Splinter Cell, aren't they? Or is it not Sam?
It's not Michael Ironside?
Yeah, it's either not Sam Fisher or it's not the same actor. It's one of the two.
Oh my God, I'll be so sad if it's not.
I haven't given
12-year-old girl voicing his voice.
Yeah, I haven't been given shit about Splinter Cell since the original.
I just want Sam Fisher to look at the camera and go, "You apes want to live forever."
Yeah, exactly. The next game on our list was an interesting one because it was a very nice game to look at. It was a very pretty game and not here whatsoever, and that's Crimson Dragon, a game from the makers of the Panzer Dragoon saga. Those games are great. Those games are great. The problem with those games are, at this point in time, they are going to be relegated to $15 downloadable games because you're not going to get the same experience out of a rail shooter that you are with the games we've come to expect. You can get away with that 10, 15 years ago on the Sega Saturn. You're not going to be able to get away with it now unless it turns into a Panzer Dragoon RPG, which I think Panzer Dragoon Zwei on the Saturn was. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it. It's a fun game, I'm sure, but I doubt it's a game that anybody's clamoring to, I've got to get my hands on this.
I'm a big fan of Panzer Dragoon Saga, the Saturn RPG, the true Saturn RPG. This game's not going to be it. It's going to be the sequel more like Orta, which was the Xbox, not the Xbox One game, but the original Xbox.
That game is great.
Shooter.
That game is fantastic.
So, that's really what it's going to be, kind of a sequel to-ish. There's going to be no RPG elements, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It would just be a nice casual game to play. For fans of the series, it'll pick it up, but it's not going to be a game that anybody really invests any time into it. Next game on our list, two short ones. Max Curse of Brotherhood. I really hope I wrote that down right. I'm pretty sure it's called Max Curse of Brotherhood. It's going to be a kid's game, but I think they're going to try and market it towards everybody.
We were talking about Xbox. You said kids game?
Yeah. Oddly enough, not a Kinect game. You know,
oh no!
I don't think it's Kinect. I think it's probably gonna be. I think it's gonna be in line with the type of platformers you saw released on the GameCube. There's just a bunch of platformers left and right, and into the Wii, even I think like Zack and Wiki, and just stuff like Ty the Tasmanian Devil and stuff like that. It's just gonna be a great casual platformer, and if you have a kid, that'll be great. But it'll probably lack the depth for most people. But if you pick it up, you'll probably have fun with it. I just wouldn't expect too much out of it.
It looks like Harold and the Magic Quran for anybody who's really, really old. But meeting a platform game. My favorite part about the opening, though, was Googling how to get rid of your little brother. Just saying an incantation that you see on Google. Who puts that site up?
Yeah,
specifically for little brother, not just for anybody. Just for your little brother only. If you have two little brothers, no, it doesn't work. Only one. The kid didn't even Google well.
You don't know how to Google. Next is a game, they barely showed any of this. D4, it's the new game by, I'm going to get this, Swery. It's Swery, not Suda. Swery, maker of Deadly Premonition. I have a very, very big problem with Deadly Premonition. Deadly Premonition is a game that came out on the Xbox 360. It was exclusive to the Xbox 360. Wanted to play this game. I love B movies. I love bad horror movies. This was a game rife with pop culture references on a system I don't have. They announced it finally coming to PlayStation 3. Director's Cut. We're fixing the controls. We're going to make it play great. Cannot wait. Game comes out. I bring it home. Broken as fuck. 10 frames a second on a good clip. Just into the negatives. Game locks my system up like 6 or 7 times. Can't get past out of the opening section of the game. Just in frustration. Just I wasted money on it. So I'm a little bitter about this. I think the guy can make a good game. We don't really know what this game is. I'm assuming it's probably going to be QuickTime events. That's kind of the way it looked. They didn't show too much of it. It's a murder mystery. He could tell a good story. It'll probably be the same thing. Bad gameplay, but good story. It's BioShock Infinite.
Yeah, it's one of those things, when you release a trailer for a game that has no information aside from a title, it kind of drives me nuts. The only other thing you can pick up from this is it has a cel-shaded look kind of similar to a Scanner Darkly. And it specifically says it's an episodic murder mystery. Otherwise, we wouldn't know. You could put anything in a trailer for E3, and they posted nothing with substance.
Yeah, the episodic format's going to be something that becomes really big. Walking Dead was a smash hit. Game of the year for most people last year. Episodic, Telltale's been doing that well. Other people are going to adapt to it. It's a good pay model. You could pay up front, like your $25 and get all of them, or you could pay, $5 a piece, assuming that there's 5 of them. Usually you get 5 of these things along the way. But we haven't seen much of it. Unfortunately, there's not much you can say about it. 2 games left to talk about. 2 big games. Titanfall. Titanfall is a new first-person shooter made up of the guys from Infinity Ward, Vince Zampella, and unfortunately I forget the other guy's name because only Zampella was at E3 talking about this. This is their big first-person shooter exclusive to Xbox One. And 360, it's actually come out on 360 as well, and PC, so thankfully I can play it without having to buy their system. Another big mistake. This is a game I would buy the system for. That sounds ridiculous to say that I'm going to buy the system for a multiplayer first-person shooter, but I would buy a system to play this game because it looks that much fun to me. The problem is, if you're giving me another way to play it on a system I already have, I'm going to play it that way. You'll still get my money, but Microsoft won't get my money. It's a game that Chris and I have argued quite a bit about because he thinks it looks like garbage and I think it looks great because I love Modern Warfare 2 and I want a Modern Warfare 2 with jetpacks and running on billboards and 20 feet tall robots, and I'm going to take your joke before you can get it, shoving people up your robot ball sack to get into your chassis, into your cockpit. I'm sorry, that's bad. Cockpit, balls,
the first thing I saw with Titanfall, and don't get me wrong, I watched the trailer a couple times and it looks kind of cool, but when the first thing I saw in the trailer was, the guy slides between his legs and the mech reaches down, grabs him, and then like shoves him into his stomach crotch area, and I was just like, hey, look, it's the crotch grab, it's the guy into my crotch. But it looks cool, but to me it's Modern Warfare 2 with mechs in it, and it looks cool.
I
but
want that.
It's not something that I need an Xbox One for, because I can play it on the 360. I can go into my store tomorrow, buy a system for $100 and buy $60 and play their game online. I don't need a $500 console to play it on. With Steve, he can play it on his PC, and it's going to be better. So you can play it on an older console for cheaper, or you can play it on a PC where it's going to be a better game, and the Xbox One is going to be in the middle. So if you want to buy an Xbox One for it, fine. If you don't, you can play it on your 360.
And I mean, I'm with Chris when, he says you can grab it for the PC or the 360. I mean, when they showed Titanfall, that was pretty much the one game that really caught my eye when Microsoft came out on the floor.
Yeah, during their press conference, that was the thing. I want that.
Definitely,
I want that.
Going back to it, I see the appeal to it. It's perfectly fine. The wall jumping thing is gonna be a little weird. It kind of reminds me of Brink a little bit with the wall jumping thing. Hopefully, it's not too difficult, but I don't need a 360. I'm sorry. I don't need an Xbox One for it. If they were smart, it would be Xbox One only.
I think this is the most anybody has ever talked about Brink.
Yeah.
I think we are giving them so much promotion. You're going to go on Steam tomorrow and buy it.
Don't buy it. Don't buy it.
Hey man,
just go buy the $3 Xbox title.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Pete, you're not a big first-person shooter fan, but
I am. It's just when my internet allows. Basically,
this is multiplayer only.
Yeah,
this is multiplayer only.
I like the style of it, and to be perfectly honest, a game it looks like it's mainly going to be mechs versus mechs. I don't know how that can be a bad game. In my mind, I just can't fathom. If you're in a mech, you're shooting other mechs
or people.
Awesome.
They do seem to go down a little fast.
They said they did an interview after E3 where they were like, there is weaponry designed to bring the mechs down.
Yes, obviously.
You have to have that. I do think that I'm guessing this is a kill streak, maybe, because in the trailer you see it come down from the sky. So I'm guessing this is going to be their version of kill streak.
Or a timed event.
Yeah, or a timed event.
You have to wait for it to be deployed.
I think it would be really interesting to do a mode. They haven't talked about most multiplayer modes where it's mechs versus humans. That's it. Mm-hmm. You can't, if you're a human, you can't get into a mech, and you can't get out of one if you're playing on the Titan side. I think that would be interesting to do. I assume that's in it. That would be weird if it wasn't into it.
The only thing I gotta say is, if it's a kill streak, I'm never gonna get a Titan.
Yeah, I'm pretty terrible at Modern Warfare. I stopped playing. I played a little bit of Black Ops 2. We played it together. Chris and I played it together. It's a fine game, but I'm never going to be good at that game. Yep. It's just I can play Battlefield 3 or any of the Battlefields and get first, second, third place. The MVPs when I play. But with Modern Warfare, it's a faster game. It's a different game. I think it's an unbalanced game, but it's a fun game. I can give it to them. It's still fun to play Modern Warfare every once in a while.
Well, once you get in a mech suit, you're pretty much the center of attention. Anyone with a heavy weapon is going to be shooting at you.
Yeah.
And Steve would agree with me. I already have a PC, a system that can run the game better than pretty much any console can. Why would I upgrade to grab anything else to play a game that I have a system already for?
Yeah, unless they do some crazy thing where DLC is only on Xbox One, or there's some big exclusive to Xbox One, there is no reason to buy a system to play it if you have other means. It's just,
I'm going to go back and say it again. Microsoft needs to convince them to make it Xbox One only.
Yeah.
To make it the system seller, because it really will be. But as it sits, it's not. Because people who own an Xbox 360 are going to buy it for the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
This year. If it comes out this year, they're not going to buy an Xbox One. Why? Modern Warfare has been perfectly fine.
These are the guys I have to spend $500.
Exactly. You can spend $60 and get it for a system that it's going to look nice on. It's going to play great, because these guys don't let you down.
Yeah.
They do not. Respawn, who was Infinity Ward, who's mostly Infinity Ward.
Well, it's just two guys. I think it's just two guys from...
No, this is most of the Infinity Ward team.
The
Infinity Ward team started to migrate after they terminated Jason West and...
That's it, that's it. Yep.
So... if you had only those two, fine. You're gonna get an okay game, but you have most of the Infinity Ward team.
Yeah. To wrap up our last game for Microsoft, Witcher 3. This is a game where it's fine for them to show it, but The Witcher 3 is a PC game. I'm sorry, it's a PC game. Nobody gives a shit about playing The Witcher on the Xbox. It sold well for them on the 360. That's all fine, well, and good. The Witcher 3 is a game that you buy a new graphics card for. It's a game you put thousands of dollars into your system because you want that game to look beautiful. You don't play it on console.
Well, I mean, on the Xbox from the PC, to me, it kind of feels like The Witcher is a little bit dumbed down. It feels like I'm not playing the same game if I'm on my PC to playing it on Xbox. There's less buttons on the 360 controller, and it seems like they didn't put a lot of thought in the control scheme of the 360.
I mean, I bought Witcher 2 for the 360 because I don't own a PC, and the beginning was amazing. The opening video, even before you start the game, was fantastic. Then the opening scene was fantastic, and then there's not enough buttons on the controller. Period.
Yeah. Pete, did you play any of them?
I started the first one, and I didn't care much for it, even though the first one and the second one are completely different, I think. I got nothing to add here.
In all honesty, I mean, not to say I want a dumbed-down game, but I really want to play this with my controller. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing mouse and keyboard, but there are some games I would rather have a controller for. And, I'm not a Witcher fan. I've never played them. I should. I know I should. I've just never played them. I have a buddy of mine who absolutely loves them. He's played both of them multiple times, and I think he actually played them with controller. I think he played at least the second one with a controller on his PC. Oof. So I'm not sure, maybe I'll have to talk to him, mouse and keyboard versus controller, but I know that those are tough games to get into. To round out our Xbox One discussion, we've got a few things system side. The first thing is Twitch integration. We're not going to talk about this too much. Essentially, PlayStation 4 is going with Ustream, which is what Sony uses to stream all their press conferences. Twitch is the #1 live streaming service for video games. It started off as Justin.tv's video game section. It was so popular that they just branched off into their own thing, which is fine. Twitch is great. The ability to watch Twitch videos on your system will be nice because it makes things a little bit easier. But the majority of Twitch is PC only. You're seeing League of Legends being played, you're seeing Diablo being played, you're seeing WoW being played, or you're seeing specialized things like people live streaming Dungeons and Dragons games or various podcasts or things like that. You don't see a lot of console games on Twitch. I'm assuming this is their attempt to rectify this by allowing you to stream straight from your console. But my question to this is, are you going to be able to have the same advantages with live streaming from your console as you would with a PC? Are you able to have your microphone set up? Are you going to be able to have picture-in-picture with Kinect? I think you probably will. But it seems like it's just going to get lost in the shuffle because everybody's going to be trying to do it. Everybody's going to be vying for attention. And the people that cast on Twitch already have such dedicated followings. Is anybody going to be able to really break through and get into it? Because at this point, it's less about the game and more about the personality of the person playing it.
Twitch is something very new to me. I mean, I kind of knew what it was, but Steve introduced it to me this week really because of E3, because we were at work and I wanted to watch as much as I possibly could. So we streamed the TGS live cast on it, and it was cool. But I also, when I was done watching E3, I also looked at Twitch and I was like, this is all PC, so this has zero interest to me. And I kind of checked out World of Tanks on it because I wanted to talk about World of Tanks, and then watching this guy play World of Tanks, it was pretty cool. But the Twitch, it's going to be too crowded, in all honesty, with the Xbox One. It's just going to really overload Twitch, and you're not going to find a good base for your fans. I mean, you're going to get a few people out of it, and then it's just going to be, some 12-year-old playing Titanfall.
Yeah. I don't really watch Twitch, to be honest with you. The games that are on there are games I don't play.
You watch podcasts now.
I not even that, because I usually, most things that get put on Twitch are eventually uploaded to YouTube, and that's just easier. I have my subscriptions on YouTube, and I can just watch it through that. Twitch doesn't let you resume where you left off if you're watching an archived video, and that's a big thing for me, because it's very tough to sit down and watch a 3-hour video in one sitting. I have to break it up. So if I can have a video that resumes my place because I'm logged in, that's great, but Twitch doesn't let you do that as of right now. Next on our list is free games. This is Microsoft's attempt at PlayStation Plus, and they are starting off in a really weird way. They are giving away Halo 3 and Assassin's Creed 2, games you already bought, games you already beat, games that came out 5 years ago.
I was about to say, isn't Assassin's Creed 2 like $8? Is that even worth getting for free?
Yeah. I mean, these are games that are under $10.
You're saying this from a company that on your birthday gives you a special treat. 80 Microsoft points, which is like a quarter. No, it's 20 Microsoft points.
I was about to say, can you even buy a song with that?
It's 50 cents.
Gives you regardless, a ridiculously small amount of money as a thank you token.
I mean, in comparison, I got XCOM free.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I just want to let everybody know, PlayStation Plus gave you XCOM for free this week.
In all honesty, I've been waiting to play XCOM for a while.
It's such a good game.
I don't do permadeath, so I can't wait to play this game for free.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't have to play with permadeath on. I don't.
Oh.
You don't have to have it on. Just like Fire Emblem, you don't have to have it on.
When did they change that?
That's XCOM. XCOM has it. Yeah, Enemy Unknown has it right from the start. I bought Enemy Unknown the day it came out.
Yeah,
it's right in there.
Play this game.
Yeah. Huh. No, it's right in there. You can certainly have it, and people will say that's the only way to play it.
Nope.
But I want to have fun and not have a fucking stress fit every time I'm playing a game.
It's kind of annoying when you have like a sergeant that's all maxed out with the best armor, best weapons that you saved up for and bought, and then he goes in a match and dies in one hit from a thing that can turn him into a zombie.
Yeah.
From a mile away while he's on cover.
Yeah, pretty much. It's ridiculous on how much time you put into it and how fast they go.
Yeah, Pete, you played a lot of XCOM, so it's why the hell are we talking about XCOM? We talk about free games on Microsoft. It's just they're gonna have to ramp it up if they want to compete with PlayStation Plus. They're gonna have to ramp it up.
PlayStation Plus has been confirmed for the PlayStation 4, and their first free game is Drive Club. PSN version or PS Plus version. So nobody really knows what it is. I mean,
it's going to be exactly what we talked about. You will get some cars, some tracks. You'll have to buy the rest.
So it's going to be better than Killer Instinct with their one character.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You're getting Drive Club Day 1, which is a new game.
Yep,
it's a next-gen game.
A new game by the guys who made MotorStorm, which I'm obviously the biggest PlayStation guy here. I love MotorStorm. Love it. Hopefully, Drive Club is not just first person, though. That's my only issue with Drive Club, as of right now. And the guy who's freaky about cars.
Yeah, he likes his cars. The next thing is their big emphasis on Minecraft. Giving such a lot of time at a huge press conference to a game that's already out.
A game that you have on your Xbox, which I have on my Xbox if I ever so choose to buy one and reactivate it.
Yeah, and it just seems weird that you're putting so much stock into an older game. The reason why I bring this up is because indie games were a huge part of Xbox 360. Braid, Super Meat Boy, and later on Fez and Dust and Elysian Tale was one of the last ones, although that just recently came out on PC and that version blows away the console version. Here's the problem. The Xbox One is not going to be an indie-friendly console.
Not at all.
They have lost their foothold in the indie world. Steam has taken over, and PlayStation 4 is taking over. The problem is you can't self-publish, and they are charging a lot for patching your game. That was the big problem Phil Fish, the creator of Fez, has. That's the reason why he didn't patch his game, because it costs like $15,000 to patch your game.
Now, you do know they announced Fez 2.
Yeah.
What's it for?
As of right now, PC.
So PC and then probably, hopefully...
He wants to do Fez the original on Vita, which would...
Okay.
The problem with that is he put it on PC, but he didn't fix any of the problems. The game is still busted on PC, and that's why I haven't played it. I want to play that game badly. I am not going to spend money on it and have it not work for me.
Well, that's the problem with the 360 version, because there is a broken patch. I mean, the game, if you hit a certain part and you hit the glitch, you can't finish the game.
He was telling you to de-patch your game at one point.
Yeah.
Don't download it.
Don't go online.
Yeah, don't go online to play the game. Not being able to self-publish is huge. Sony is allowing you to do that.
Yep.
That means you're going to have a greater variety of these upstart games come. And I think what Sony will have as an advantage is Steam has Greenlight. The problem with Greenlight is designed to be a method of getting your lesser-known game recognized. It is a popularity contest. It is a beauty pageant. Games that are far from being finished are getting greenlit, while games that are ready to go are getting tossed aside.
Yep.
And that is a really weird thing to have happen. And Valve has admitted that it's a flawed system. It seems like Sony will, they'll fix this. They'll allow people to self-publish. They'll allow games to get their shot. They don't use a slot system. Microsoft has a slot system. There's only so many games that could be on Xbox Live at one point. They get uploaded to their server. They get released. I get why they do that, to avoid crowding, but at the same time, that means games get delayed and pushed back. Hype goes away. People that are interested in getting it, they fade away, and they search for it on other systems, because most of those games will eventually come to other platforms. It's exclusive for a while. Very little games are truly exclusive anymore.
I mean, XBLA was huge. I mean, the dishwasher, man, when we worked at GameStop, and it was, the dishwasher was huge when it came out. Huge. I mean, I heard people coming in, every other Xbox person was talking about the dishwasher. And I really didn't even know what it was. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's cool. It's $5-10. Perfect. And now Microsoft is cutting off the hand that fed them. I mean, you get those cheapy games, man, and they're really that... Indie games, as much as I don't want to admit it, are really the future of the base of a console or PC. Because these guys who take $10-20 million and they dump it into a game are never going to make it back. You got to get to that third game before you start to make money, really.
Well, plus it's new ideas too. You can't get that with any of the new companies now. Exactly. It seems like they just remake the same thing
ideas,
over and over.
New mechanics. Yeah. It really does work.
It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because both systems are putting a lot of stock into indie games, but it only seems like one is doing it right.
Yeah, at Microsoft Conference, technically there's 2 indie games that are at the Xbox One. Minecraft and a game called Below. Below is a Minecraft clone, friends. So you've got Minecraft and a Minecraft clone. So you've got a game that everybody who buys an Xbox One most likely already owns on their Xbox that... you should just be able to re-download again.
Oh, but wait. Xbox One has bigger Minecraft. We call that the PC version.
The PC version is way better. Yeah. There's so much stuff you can do in the PC version.
To round out our Xbox One discussion, just something real quick. They're finally getting rid of Microsoft points.
No more seed.
It's about time. It's about time to get rid of space dollars, to get rid of credits, to get rid of Gil. It's just nice.
G.
Yeah, Sony does it nice and simple. It's dollar amounts. Things online are dollar amounts.
At least Nintendo, it's a penny per point, so you know what you have.
Yeah. So I take it the Wii U is still doing that.
Actually, I don't know. I've never seen Wii U
switch
cards.
to money.
Yeah, I'm the only one here that doesn't have a Wii U. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just nice. It's just nice to be...
You saved $299.
Yeah.
Plus.
It's nice to have everything in order. It's nice to have just dollar amounts.
Yes.
That's how we buy things in stores. That's how we buy things. When I go to Amazon, it's not Amazon bucks. It's $49.99. Which is weird to say that, because Amazon just came out with a coin system for Kindle owners.
Nice.
Which
I've never seen.
Yeah, I got my $5. I got my $5, but...
$5 in K coins.
All right, so we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back with EA and Ubisoft. Stay tuned. All right, we're back, guys, and we're going to do Ubisoft and EA together, since they are the 2 big press conferences that aren't tied to a specific system. We're going to start with EA, and their first 2 games were Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, and that kind of ties into Plants vs. Zombies 2. Garden Warfare is Team Fortress 2 mixed with tower defense. It's very cartoony looking, and it's going to be a fun, casual game, I imagine, but not a game with a lot of depth. It's a weird choice to take that franchise with. I get it. It's again, bringing it up, it's Gotham City Imposters. It's a traditional franchise that's associated with one type of genre, and now we're going to put it into something else. And normally that's fine. You want variety, but it just seems strange. You know, I am a diehard Plants vs. Zombies fan. I own it like on every system imaginable, plus my phone. I have zero interest in this, and I don't know if any of you guys, you know, what your thoughts on it is.
I didn't see much on it other than the guy who walked out with a zombie head on and
That's
took
cool.
it out.
That's good.
That was cool. Other than that, I didn't really pay attention. I was just kind of like, okay, let's get to Battlefield.
The whole thing, I want Plants vs. Zombies 2. I want to play it on my PC. I don't want to have a third-person shooter where I'm a sunflower. It's like I don't go to bed at night dreaming, I wish I was a sunflower destroying zombies with sun power. Although it does sound kind of cool now that I say it out loud.
But here's the great thing about Plants vs. Zombies 2. You will be able to play it on the platform that made it famous, the iPhone. The iPhone only, because it's not announced for anything else. And it's free to play, it's microtransaction, and I want to kick them in the dick for doing it. Because I love Plants vs. Zombies. I don't want anything to do with a free-to-play microtransaction cell phone game. I have an iPhone. I could certainly play it on it the day it comes out. Will I? No.
I'll download it. I'll try to love it, but I don't know. It's just I got fat little fingers, and
Your fingers are nice.
Thank you.
He's got pretty fingers.
What are the microtransactions going to be?
Yeah, they haven't really said that. I don't know.
Like you have to buy the specific plant? I mean,
Or
are they
world.
really going to whore
Wow,
you?
that
Are
would-
they
that
going to
would
screw
be-
you over? Like,
maybe
Maybe
you
you
get-
get a lot of money.
maybe
to
you get-
buy every plant.
Yeah, maybe you get World 1 for free, and then like
Yeah.
you know 2 through
that'd be
5 is $5 or whatever,
So it's
something
a
like that.
so it's a droid game light. It's a light droid game.
Yeah, it's basically the light version of a game on your cell. If you play a lot of cell phone games, you'll notice that most games have a light version. Maybe that's what it'll be. But the best news is they announced Peggle 2, and I screamed like a little girl because I love Peggle, and I can't wait to play this. And if it's free to play, EA, fuck you.
I got nothing. I got nothing on Peggle.
I tried to play Peggle, and the attention span from watching that ball bounce around just dropped, and
You have to get-
totally got bored.
You have to get the PC version of Peggle because there's Half-Life levels.
Half-Life
Yeah,
levels.
There's Half-Life
yeah.
levels.
All I know about Peggle is the unicorn.
Bjorn? Bjorn the unicorn?
I don't know. That's it. That's all I know.
Bjorn
is
the
there's a
unicorn. I like the owl and the lady with electricity fingers.
Well,
And-
well, now they're gonna have Jeff.
Electricity fingers could be good.
Yeah, she's like I'm gonna. She's like the Emperor from Star Wars.
That's not good.
Yeah,
It's Pumpkinhead all the way. Come on.
Pumpkinhead Special is not that great though. It's like the
You drop through the bottom
like
and come out
the
the top.
Egyptian gopher, or whatever the hell it is, with the pyramid.
Oh, that's
Or
awesome.
like the UFO. That's dumb as hell. Everybody knows it's the Zen shot. The owl with the Zen
Oh.
shot. Because you can play the game like an asshole and it corrects it for you. It's wonderful. If you're terrible at our game, we will correct your aim. It's fantastic. You're looking at me like you have no idea what I'm talking about.
No idea.
You can pick the worst shot in the game. If you have this guy's special ability, it'll just change your shot to the best shot in the game.
Oh, that sounds good.
You can play the game drunk. It's perfect.
Is that
working
when
there.
is that
We're
when
working.
Chris dies a certain amount in God of War and it tells him to turn it on easy?
It's the golden suit
Eat shit.
in Mario. It's the golden suit in Mario.
Oh, jeez.
I purposely fucked up in that game so I can get that thing because I'm glittery. I want to be as glittery as possible in my video
What are you
games.
talking about?
In
golden
Super Mario,
suit?
yeah, in Super Mario 3D
Yeah.
Land on the 3DS, if you fuck up enough, it gives you a suit that's like the star power all the time,
Yeah.
mixed with the raccoon suit. So you're swinging your tail and jumping and not dying
For like a whole
whatsoever.
level?
Yeah, for the rest of the level.
Yeah, you know it's
I
like
need to play
the
more of that game.
yeah, pretty much like the P suit where you can just fly through the
Nice.
whole thing.
Yeah.
It just makes it easy.
Oh, that was completely off topic.
No, that's on topic.
Okay.
Peggle is always on topic. Battlefront. This
Oh,
is a
yes.
game that was canceled, and this is not Battlefront 3. Let's get this out of the way right away. This is not Battlefront 3. This is a DICE-developed Battlefront game, and my biggest fear is that this will be first person.
See, I have no problem. I mean, when they started this trailer and it's dark and they got the snow, I knew exactly what it was. Didn't know who it was going to be, whether Visceral or DICE, because I think either one will do a good job. The first-person thing that Steve's not going to like about Battlefield, I could care less, because DICE does one thing. You can make a shooter that has flying and tanks in it, and they're going to do it better than anybody else.
Yeah, I assume it's going to be like Battlefield with the jets. You know, the Hoth speeder.
I just want it to be a little bit easier because, oh my god, Battlefield 3 trying to fly the jets is a nightmare with a controller.
You see me fly a jet, I'm amazing at it.
Yeah, it just, I want a little bit easier flight controls, but in my mind, DICE will do this right.
By amazing, I mean I've knocked down every tree on Caspian border.
I mean, I use jets on Battlefield to get me to a point and then leave them.
Everybody,
Battlefield
does
purists.
that, yeah.
But that's what I can use them for. I can't fly them, man. I can't get by the fact that I need a Vulcan cannon to take down people before I get missiles. Give me missiles to begin with, and I'm fine.
Well, it makes the game so much better when it actually takes talent to actually bomb someone with a jet instead of just calling it in on a...
True, but, I mean, a jet has missiles attached to it, not just a Vulcan cannon at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's my only issue with Battlefield. Let me use a Sidewinder, not even a Heat Seeker, but just give me a missile. Like, maybe not lock on permanently heat-seeking style, but let me shoot something first. Sorry, off topic.
The other thing that's not mentioned is destructible environments. I'd imagine a Battlefront game with destructible environments would be fantastic.
The problem with that is that there aren't any major battles in the Star Wars films that they can pull from
destruction.
I mean, I guess if you want like the Cloud City, like if you're having like a Cloud City level, you're indoors, but Hoth is an open field. You know, it's just
how many times can you play Hoth?
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. Most of
destruction.
Most of those big battles that you see, like, okay, here's an example that'd be great: an Endor level where the trees fall down.
That's what I was going to say.
That would be kind of cool.
Trees are going to fall down, right?
Here's the thing, though, and this is just getting really kind of nerdy on Star Wars: are there weapons powerful enough to knock down a tree in that game? You know, like you have the mini AT-ATs and the speeders.
Yes, those would be able to.
Like, is a speeder crash really going to knock down a tree, or could you use the ties that they bring down the big AT-ATs and actually pull trees down to block people chasing you? Like, if you're on a speeder and somebody's chasing behind you, could you have an ability that would knock down a tree and put it in their path so they have to make a split-second decision? I like Star Wars.
Honestly, DICE is going to do it well. Steve might not like the fact that it's going to be a first-person shooter. Possibly. They can do it third. They could.
It would be better.
It probably will be better. But I think Steve brought up a point to me the other day where, you know, I hope it's not just you and your buddies and everybody else populating this world, because in Battlefront 1 and 2 there's a whole army of other people integrated with you. They need to have that. I don't just want it to be 64 dudes. I want hundreds and hundreds of each guys on each side, and I'm wiping them out.
If the PlayStation 2 can do it, there's no reason why these systems can't do it.
I just hope, whether it's first or third, I'm going to buy it. Period.
Yeah, well, it's a new Battlefront game. We haven't seen one of those in a while, and I'm kind of with Steve on the third person. I mean, it kind of seems like it should be in there just because every other game was third person.
Here's the thing, though. Let's say there gives you an ability to have lightsabers. Are you really going to want to have that in first person?
It'll feel like Oblivion.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be an issue of field of view at that point.
I don't think
because then you're going to have this huge lightsaber taking up your camera on consoles, where at least PC, even if they don't let you change field of view in the options, maybe you can go into the config files and change it. You know, on console, you're stuck with that. You know, there's weapons in Skyrim that take up half the screen.
Yeah.
You know, that's a huge problem.
Well, plus with half the moves with a lightsaber, like with the twirling and jumping around, how are you going to do that?
You're going to lose the visual flair that the game has. You know,
it might be third person, and I hope it is. I know that DICE is going to do it well, because the flying and the AT-AT battles are really going to be the thing that people see in this.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to just be the ground warfare that Battlefront 2 and Battlefront 1 was. You're going to be in the vehicles more. And that's a big thing. And DICE is really the best at vehicles combat-wise in my mind now.
Hey, they're the only ones that really do it.
Yeah.
You know, Call of Duty doesn't have it.
Halo was an attempt.
Like Halo has the Warthogs and stuff like that. You know, I think it's pretty fun in Halo.
Yeah. Well, they fit in Halo.
Yeah.
I mean, when I played, what was it, Call of Duty 3, I think it was, the tanks really didn't. They put them in on really, really small maps, and they just seemed pointless.
Yeah, you need huge open grounds, you know, to really fight on. You know, you need a battlefield.
Yeah.
Need for Speed. This is a franchise that's been around for a long time. They have a new game coming out, Everybody's got a racing game coming out. Ubisoft has a big racing game coming out. Sony has Gran Turismo 6 and Drive Club. Microsoft has Forza. Is Need for Speed still relevant?
It matters who's making it. I think Criterion is getting old with it. They want to make a Burnout game.
Yeah, they need to go back to Burnout.
Give me a Burnout game where you put me at the top of the hill and I get to run in and create millions of dollars worth of damage.
Now, is this game more realistic or is it arcade?
It's online.
Their online thing is you can have a single player race that turns into a multiplayer race halfway through it.
Okay.
That's a neat idea. The last Need for Speed, the reboot of Most Wanted, did something similar where you would have meetups in the game, in the world, where you would meet up and start a multiplayer match from that. This is kind of taking it the next step. But I don't care about Need for Speed anymore. I used to. Even recently, Most Wanted, or I'm sorry, not Most Wanted, the one not the last one. Wherever the hell, the one that was...
The Run.
Not
Not the
Pursuit?
No, not the Run was garbage. Hot Pursuit, thank you. The reboot of Hot Pursuit. The Run was bullshit.
Hot Pursuit was good.
Yeah, just bring back the original with the full motion video. That's all I want. I want Road
This
and
is
Track.
Josie Marin.
Road and Track present the Need for Speed long box PS1. Just give me an HD remake. I want that. I want it.
Ooh.
I want to race
it
it
hurts.
with the yellow Lamborghini on the cover. That didn't even have a yellow Lamborghini on the cover.
No.
It had a speedometer and a red hood. One of them had a yellow Lamborghini, and I had that, and I want it again. So I want to race it.
Lambo.
I'm getting at the point nobody gives a shit about Need for Speed anymore.
Yeah.
When you have Gran Turismo and Forza, it's tough to beat those.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No more Shift games in EA. No more Shift.
Yeah, I mean, Shift was their attempt at a Grid.
Shift 2 was awful.
And Grid 2 is phenomenal, and the first Grid is great. If you're looking for a racing game right now, buy Grid 2.
The problem with Need for Speed is they've taken all the creativity out of it. It's just car go. There's no more customization. Let me paint my car. Let me put something on the side of it. Give me something.
From working at a game store, that's pretty much what everyone's looking for.
Yeah,
is
that's
they,
what everybody
they care,
wants.
They care more about
The number one
customization.
question you get when you work at a game store is, when somebody's asking about a racing game, can I customize my car?
Yep.
And if you tell them no, or that it's limited, you just
barely
lost a
even care.
sale.
Yep.
Yeah.
You lost a sale at that point because they're not interested in your game.
They've either got to go back and buy Carbon, or you offer them Midnight Club.
Or you offer them Underground 1 on the Xbox, because I put a lot of time into that game, and it had a song by the Yin Yang Twins in it.
Oh, my God.
And I had that game on the GameCube, and that game was great. And I suggest if you're looking for a great racing game, I know I just said buy Grid 2, buy Need for Speed Underground, because you can watch Fast and Furious and get a Vin Diesel rush, and then you can pretend you're Vin Diesel, and you can drive your Honda and paint it orange, like Paul Walker in the first movie, although I think that's a Toyota. I just watched all the Need for Speed movies like in one day.
Steve's got a hard-on for Need for
I like
Fast and Furious.
I like Fast and Furious. I like to think that
I like Vin Diesel.
I like Vin Diesel. He likes Dungeons and Dragons, and
He's got his own video game studio.
he had a tattoo on his body in XXX that was like Elvish for his character's name in D&D. And the second movie had Ice Cube.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
And on topic, Dragon Age. This all comes around to Dragon Age. Dragon Age Inquisition, essentially Dragon Age 3, not coming out anytime soon. We saw a pretty CG trailer for it.
Nobody knows what it is.
We know
Whether
nothing
it's gonna
about it
be-
because Dragon Age 2 sucked.
Yeah, whether it's going to be the hack and slash that Dragon Age 2 was on the consoles, or the original game, which was more strategy RPG, no one knows.
I like the first one a lot. I didn't finish it.
So I'm lost. Is Vin Diesel in this new Dragon Age game?
Vin
or
Diesel
is
is in Dragon Age Inquisition.
Or no, it's Ice Cube, I thought.
Ice
Well,
Cube,
I would play as
he
Ice Cube.
is the antagonist to Vin Diesel's protagonist.
What?
And then later on, Ludicrous shows up.
Oh, God.
And in the first movie, Too Fast, Too Furious, he owns a garage. The next time you see him, he is essentially Matthew Broderick in War Games and is a computer genius.
That happens.
And
gotta start from
Han
somewhere.
is in that movie. I'm sorry, Gal Gadot is in that movie No, I'm sorry, she's in number 4, and she plays a different character in number 4 than she does in number 5 and number 6. And then The Rock shows up, and he's like, Dragon Age! And Dragon Age 3 is The Rock. It's starring The Rock and the Iron Giant himself, Vin Diesel. The greatest role of his career, David Duchovny, is in that movie.
6 Fast, 6 Furious.
Dragon Age is coming out eventually.
I mean, I'm excited for Dragon Age, but hopefully it's...
I hope it's good.
I like the first one over the second.
Yeah, the first one was fantastic.
There was a lot more to do and a lot more gameplay to it.
Pete, did you ever get around to playing any of those?
Why do you keep asking me about games?
Because you don't talk. You don't talk, and I want you to feel included.
I haven't watched Fast and Furious either.
I kind of get lonely not hearing from you, Pete.
EA Sports has games coming out. NBA Live is apparently shit.
It's going to be awful.
It's fucking terrible.
You keep the money in your pocket because 2K is a monster. You're not going to stop.
You're not going to stop 2K with basketball. There's a reason why I am still playing NBA 2K13.
I am too.
Most sports games you play them for a few months and you're done with them. I am still playing NBA 2K13. I love their basketball games. I am a huge sports fan. Chris is a huge sports fan. We get into sports video games. Most of them you play for a little while and you're done with them. You play the show for a few months and you're done. I play the Madden for a few months and you're done. Chris has a league, so he keeps playing with it. But
I'm in my 8th season of Madden.
Yeah, NBA, for whatever reason, I stick with it. It's not perfect. The career mode and the my player and all that stuff's not perfect. It's far from it. It's getting better. But just something about it. It plays great.
This year is more accessible to a lesser talented player, I guess, because you can actually hit shots. The inclusion of the right stick dribbling makes it a lot easier now on 2K13. Pulling the left trigger and shooting. People were worried about it, but I think it works out really well. Madden, I just love Madden, the feel of Madden. Finally having everybody being a stiff body and not just, after the play ends, you float through people and people are celebrating all over the place. And it just looks great and it plays well. And I won't buy an NBA 2K14 because I buy them every other year because there's no point to buying 2K every year.
Yeah, I mean, I buy my sports games every year. I always do.
I buy Madden every year.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where people are like, why do you do it? The reason is because I get rid of it, and then that time of year when the season starts, you're like, I kind of want to play a sports game. I'll just buy the new one.
You want to see the water dripping off the blade of grass, huh?
Yeah, essentially. That's all I want. I want, Madden, I'm not an NFL fan. I really don't care about football, but I like Madden. I'll play it. I'm not going to play a lot of it. I should say this. I play a lot of it in a short period of time.
Yes.
So I get my 80 hours out of it relatively quickly.
And you get your money back on the
games.
trade-in.
They're very beautiful. The Madden games, they're great.
Randy Moss looks great.
One each year is kind of overkill.
I think they would be better if they went to a 2-year model with roster updates. To be honest with you, I think at this point...
The problem is people buy them. Everybody, and even my buddy who I play Madden with religiously, he's always saying that he just wants a roster update. But the problem is people buy them. And if people didn't, you might be able to get that roster update. So, I'm not going to say go out and boycott Madden this year because I'm not going to buy it until I get my PS4. So... It's live with it. It's just going to happen.
Yeah. The last thing we'll talk about with EA Sports, and we'll get off the topic soon because, only a minority of us care about sports games. UFC, they have the UFC license. Why can't I have it this year?
Because they're lazy.
Shut up. I want it. EA, I want it.
They've got to perfect the what's the engine called? Ignite engine for all their games, which I don't think they should do.
Here's the thing, though, that I'm really worried about. The THQ UFC games are phenomenal. Those games, if you're not familiar with them, they actually, I wish more games had this. They have a clock in that game that lets you know how much you've played it. I have put 100 hours in the first UFC game, a good 60 to 70 into the second one, and a good 80 to 90 into the third one. I am a fan. I like the UFC. I like mixed martial arts. I want to play a mixed martial arts game. EA made their own. EA MMA. All right. It was okay. It wasn't that great. It was all right. I'm really worried that the new UFC game is going to be that, and that would be really disappointing because they have a lot of potential. The UFC has cooled off It's not as hot as it was. Pay-per-view numbers are down. You know, tonight, the night we're recording this, there is a UFC pay-per-view, and it's headlined by two guys that were relevant 5 years ago. You know, they're running into some issues. They're running into injury issues. So they need to make a good game. Because if they make a good game, then people start talking about it again. It's good for their business. It's good for EA's business as a whole. I just want to play it. I guess spring next year is when it's coming out. To be honest with you, I think they release spring traditionally anyway, so it's not that much of a surprise. I just want to play it. I just really want to play it.
The only problem I ever had with the UFC games was I couldn't do the submissions all that well because they just made them too hard. Like spin the controller.
Yeah, they got rid of that in UFC 3.
Oh, sweet.
They did. It was a cat and mouse game where you had an overlapping bar and you were trying to get the other player's bar in yours.
Okay.
And as the player that was defending, you were trying to get away from it. EA MMA did have a better system. You moved the right thumbstick around until it vibrated, and when it vibrated, that's when you would hold it, but it would constantly move as the other player struggled. That's a better system. Keep that. You know,
I mean, a little bit about me is, you know, I used to wrestle in high school and I was a big athlete, and you know, every once in a while, you know, you want to think of yourself as a fighter, you know, and as me as a fighter, I want to break your arm and make you submit. And in these games, you just couldn't do it in the early ones. Hopefully, in the newer one, which I've never played, I'll play it now because Steve says you can actually do submissions on it. You know. I just want to be able to submit people easily. Not easily, but, you know, beat them down enough and then make them submit. Not, you know, because they can spin their controller stick faster than you, let them get out.
Yeah, they did get rid of that, thankfully. They got rid of that for UFC 3, and EA just never bothered with it because they knew it was a problem. And the funny thing was EA MMA actually had a little fake news ticker that came up down the bottom for like hints and tips, and it said, because they nicknamed the spinning of the stick the Shine, right. And EA had something that said, you don't need to spin the stick is shiny enough, or like something like that. So that's a better system. There are things from EA MMA that they need to keep, but there are things they need to get rid of.
There's two things I really want to bring up before we skip out on the sports thing, because granted I'm big on the sports. One, as Steve was just talking about the fake Twitter thing or something like that, EA does it in Madden. And it's awesome. Please keep it in Madden.
No, they need to bring back the year where they had the fake radio show.
Yes, the radio show was good, but it got
awesome.
old because they would repeat themselves.
I didn't care. I played 20 years of franchise in that game. Like, I play franchise mode. I like franchise mode with the exception of the show. The show is my ability to live out my fantasies as a major league pitcher. I've always wanted to be a pitcher. I love pitching.
Yeah.
Sounds weird. And then it gives me an opportunity to do that, and that's the only game mode I play in that game. The show is specifically a pitching simulation for me. I don't play exhibition, I don't play online, I don't play franchise, I don't play any of that stuff. I just want to pitch a ball. I want to throw a ball into your glove really fast, except for when I play as a knuckleball.
This discussion belongs on Grindr. But the other point I wanted to make was about FIFA, and we're gonna go back to the Xbox One for a second, and EA has been given a lot of money by Microsoft for this to make the EA FIFA Ultimate Team online exclusive to Xbox One. This is a big point for Europe, and that's about it.
It's the reason why they're doing that is because Europe has always been associated with Sony. This gives them an opportunity to get a foothold in Europe, because despite what a lot of people believe, FIFA is one of the best-selling games in the world.
Yep.
Because soccer is the most popular sport on this planet. And those people buy video games. Oddly enough, you don't think of athletic people usually buying video games, but they buy FIFA in droves.
Oh, yeah.
And I love FIFA. But with me, I'm like you when it comes to basketball games. I will only buy a FIFA game every couple of years. Yep. Like, I have FIFA 12. I didn't buy 13. I have 12 because EA sold it to me for $5 as part of a Memorial Day sale. And it's wonderful. I follow soccer from afar. I have a team that I support in the English Premier League. I like it. I enjoy it. It's nice because living where we live in New York. We have the Yes Network, which is the Yankees television network, and they run British Premier League games specifically related to the team I follow, Arsenal. So I can actually kind of keep up with the team. I prefer international play like the World Cup or the Olympics. I like that more. But soccer is a game I enjoy, but it's not a video game I need to have every year.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because it's the only thing I know about soccer. Arsenal's emblem is a cannon.
It's a shield with a cannon in it.
Yes.
And some British person is listening is going to crucify me because it probably has some name. It's like David's Cannon or some shit like that. But But the reason why I like Arsenal is back in the 2000 era when Dennis Bergkamp was playing for them, and Seaman was the keeper. They were sponsored by Sega, and their kit said Dreamcast on them, and that's why I like them, because in FIFA 2001 on PC, I could play as them because they're the highest rated team, and they had the Sega sponsorship.
Yeah, Microsoft did a really good. They really pulled it over on EA on this one. You know, they're filling their pockets, and it's good. And I hope that Microsoft doesn't make a giant push into Europe just because of this. It's really got to be about their core games, and obviously FIFA is not generally.
Not even all of Europe is getting the Xbox One at launch.
Yes,
you know, this is what's strange. Yeah, I mean Poland, the makers of The Witcher 3, CD Projekt Red, they can't play their own game when the game comes out because their country doesn't support the Xbox One, or the Xbox One doesn't support Poland. That's ridiculous.
Give Poland a chance.
Yeah. Mirror's Edge. Now,
I loved it.
Is this Mirror's Edge 2? Because they said that this is a reboot. Now,
geez.
I never finished Mirror's Edge. I'm assuming that there's a story they can continue from. Faith is still in the game. We don't know if she's necessarily the playable character, but she's still in the game. Is this a continuation or is this really a reboot? Why do you need to reboot this anyways?
Well, it was one game. Why would you reboot?
Yeah, that's the weird thing.
I don't think it's a reboot. They're just making it, instead of being... Mirror's Edge was a really straight form game. You know, there really wasn't a lot of outside the box. You really had to move in the one direction they pointed you in. And what they're saying is this is an open world style game. So,
cool.
I look forward to Mirror's Edge too. I played Mirror's Edge a long time ago, and I was really frustrated with it. And I picked it up again when it got cheaper, and I really blazed through it. And I played it a specific way, and generally that's not what I do. I was going for a trophy, in all honesty, and it's generally not something. Yes, the no-kill trophy.
It's so hard.
And the only kill I had in the game that counted against me was I ran up a ramp and I slid. It's my favorite move in the game. You do the kick, and the guy falls backwards, and he fell off of a building. I almost cried at the instant when I did it because I had a frightening feeling that I lost that trophy, and I did. But I did get the trophy for not shooting anybody when I finished the game.
There you go.
Now, to be completely fair, falling off a building usually kills people.
Yeah, but it's my move.
He
I
could
ran up
have
on
fallen
someone, I kicked someone in the nuts,
a
and...
painter scaffold. He's not necessarily dead. You don't know.
It's the only time in a game where I said, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that."
Now, it was kind of a similar issue, where I was in, basically, it was kind of like a parking garage, and it was filled with SWAT members. And when you're trying to get
talking about the game, right?
Yeah.
Was it bright green?
I've never had an issue where I was surrounded by SWAT members.
Yes.
Only once. But other than that, I mean, trying to get the no-killing trophy in that game and just not harming anyone, when you have groups of, like, 6 to 10 people coming after you with semi-automatic rifles, automatic rifles, it's kind of hard to get the location that's right behind them without killing anyone.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, I'm not one to say I can play stealth games. I'm actually the opposite because I love watching people play like Splinter Cell when they can hang up top of a guy and drop on him and crush his skull and stuff. In Mirror's Edge really made me want to be better at it. What Russell's talking about is there's one part in a parking garage that like haunted me, and it took me like 2 days to get through it.
So hard.
Where there's you kind of got to bring the guys in around the van so you can kill one guy at a time, because these guys are heavy armed with assault gear on.
They're like riot officers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just kick a guy, punch a guy, and he's down. You got to beat this guy up before he goes down.
Yeah, it's a franchise that people really love, but I don't think it's sold all that well.
No.
So it's going to be one of those things where they're going to give you your second game, but they're going to really expect you to buy it.
At the end of the trailer, did you guys see what it said?
No. Well, I mean, it's been a little while. I mean, it's been a few days since I watched it.
At the end of the trailer, it says when it's done.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Blizzard MO. Blizzard games come out when they're done. Like CD Projekt Red, which we just talked about, the Cyberpunk trailer says it's ready when it's ready.
Are Blizzard games ever ready when they're done?
No, they're not.
I was about to say.
I mean, the only Blizzard game I really care about is Diablo. I like StarCraft, but I'm not great at it. I will finish the single player eventually, but I have zero interest in multiplayer. And I understand that the people that really love those games, they get very upset that those games come out and they're not really finished. But I would rather have them take their time with this and have it come out right, like Cyberpunk. I really want to play that game. I know nothing about it. No idea. Is it first person, third person? Is it action? Is it stealth? Is it a shooter? What is it? I don't care. Just from that trailer they have out, I want to see what that game looks like.
The thing with Mirror's Edge, and it's a dice game, just so you guys know, I mean, I'm sure you guys do, but it's a dice game, and the scary part is could it be put behind all of the DLC for Battlefield 4, and then put behind Battlefront, because DICE is doing Battlefront? Well, so could this game really be 4 years in the making?
DICE... they have multiple teams. Their core team is making Battlefront. I assume this is like an ancillary team that is making Mirror's Edge. What you may see is this side team works on it until everybody else is done with other things, and then they start going with this. But you have to imagine they're going to have a very dedicated team assigned to just DLC for Battlefield 4, and a very dedicated team assigned to, I guess, DLC for Battlefront. You may see them release both around the same time because they are so different. It would be a little strange to have a company like that have two games out at the same time. It's certainly not strange for EA to have two games out at the same time, but a developer to have two games out at the same time seems a little odd. Like, I don't think it would happen, but you never know. There are different enough. DICE seems like they're big enough where they could have that happen. They've certainly become a very large developer over the past few years. And that brings us into our last topic on EA. This is the one Chris is like bouncing up and down in his chair. Battlefield 4. I'm just going to let you go. Just Battlefield,
all right,
just go.
All right, Battlefield 4. Battlefield 3 changed the game a lot. They tried to push Call of Duty into this game, and you can really feel it. Because they went from a game that was these big, massive battles where you could bring down buildings everywhere. I mean, every building was pretty much destructible.
No, that's correct. As an English major, bring downable is correct.
I got it.
Yeah.
So in Bad Company 2, you could basically take down any building in the game. In Battlefield 3, no, you can't, sadly. It's really the thing that kills that game for me, because they put so much Call of Duty in there with like Operation Metro and Grand Bazaar.
Well, Grand Bazaar, it's not necessarily a Call of Duty map.
Well, it is, because it's a corridor fight.
Yeah.
And granted, in the console game, it's even more of a corridor fighter, because you cut off those two streets on either end.
You lose a percentage of the map.
So you lose that, and it's one thing that I cannot wait for the next gen consoles, because you get these 64 and you get the full maps. But Battlefield 4, watching the gameplay, and I hope this is true when I get it in my hands, is that they slowed it down just a tad. I want the frame rate, because I'm a PS3 guy. They play at 30 frames. I want the frame rate at 60 frames. I want it smooth, but I want that gun feel from Bad Company 2, where, I knew every gun for the engineer class. I literally platinumed every gun, which means I had 1,000 kills with every gun in one class. Now,
I only killed people with the repair tool.
Yes, I don't have the platinum on that. I have
53,000 repair tool kills in Battlefield 3.
It's absolutely ridiculous how much I played Bad Company 2. And I want the feel of the guns, because I could run around in Bad Company 2 and put 5 bullets in a guy with my UMP, and I know he was going down. Because you can feather that trigger, and in Battlefield 3, they changed it where you can go full auto, but if you actually feather your gun, you get less accuracy, which is just wrong. So just fix the gunplay. I can't wait to be in a tower where there's tanks taking down the bottom of it, and if you're the commander or whoever's the commander, and they call in the strikes, and this game could be amazing.
I hope that they allow you to, if a building is going down, that's just not a canned animation where you just die. I hope you're able to knock out a window and parachute out.
Well, in the trailer, they show it, because they're looking down at the tanks that are shooting at the base of it. Granted, hopefully it's not a canned thing where it's a timed event. We talked about this a little bit, not today, but at our job, where hopefully it's not canned, and this building is coming down because they're blasting the crap out of it. And you see these guys, and they see it, and the commander calls in the thing, and it takes out the tanks, and then they run to the other side and jump out the building. like a group of 6 dudes on like the 50th floor of this building are just jumping out in parachute.
Well, yeah, they showed the building kind of like shaking, like it was about to like almost crash down on itself, and that's pretty much the only reason why I side with Battlefield over Call of Duty is because of the destructible environments. You can level a building with a tank. You can just crash straight into it, take out the sniper with a rocket launcher. I mean, you can't do that in Call of Duty. You shoot a rocket with shoot it right at the wall and
nothing, because you don't get that splash damage.
There's something very satisfying about knowing that there is an opposing player behind a wall. I could shoot a rocket, take that wall out, remove his cover, and force him into a panic strategy, and I have the advantage.
Well, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I mean, with Call of Duty, you end up
you just sit there behind that wall.
Yeah, you're behind that wall. You could pump as many bullets as you want into it, and you're never gonna feel anything.
Technically, if it's a thin wall, Call of Duty does have
but how many thin walls are in those maps?
Yeah, true.
There's too many opportunities where it's just like, man, in the real world, I'd be killing this dude.
Yep.
It's not the real world because it's a video game, but it's just, if other games allow you to do it, you feel its lack of presence when you're playing a game that doesn't allow you to do it.
Yeah.
My problem with Call of Duty 2 is, like, it seems like most places that people want to camp is at a place where you can't hit them from. You can't get them out of the place. You can't take them out without dying several times.
It comes down to poorly designed maps.
Yeah.
Is what it comes down to. DICE is a little bit smarter. There are certainly maps I don't like in Battlefield 3, and there are maps that I will always vote against. Terran Highway I like. I quite like that map.
That's your best map ever.
Yeah, I had some games on that map. There are maps that I don't like. It's been a long time since I played that game. I wish I could get in specifics, but I just can't remember names. The only maps I can pull off the top of my head are Caspian Border and Terran Highway and Grand Bazaar. But it's one of those games where you like being able to do what you want. If I want to take this wall down, I can take this wall down. I'm not just going to run into it and get stuck and have to go into reverse.
I'm just hoping for more destructibility in Battlefield 4.
Yeah, they need to start changing names of their games because I'm getting confused. Yeah. I'm going to get Battlefield 4 and be like, where the fuck is Jabba the Hutt?
I want to be Princess Leia.
Yeah.
You can't be Princess Leia.
Wait a minute. No, I don't.
You're as beautiful as she is.
Damn straight.
We're all very pretty. Speaking of pretty people, the fine Frenchman behind Ubisoft brought some stuff. Last year, they brought arguably the game of show, Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs is coming out this year. We'll see how it is. The more I see of that game, the less I like of it. And we're not going to get into Watch Dogs today, because it's a game that everybody pretty much knows enough about. They showed it last year. We really don't need to say anything more other than the fact that it looks like a very technologically advanced Assassin's Creed. Ubisoft has some stuff this year. We'll get into it. The first thing is South Park. This is a game that was originally a THQ game, and now it's picked up by Ubisoft. I still don't know enough about this game.
I want it.
I like South Park. I don't watch it on a regular basis anymore, but I've watched enough of it where I still like those characters. It's still funny, and I want to play this game, but I haven't seen gameplay. Those screenshots, everybody's like, well, you haven't really seen any screenshots. Those screenshots are just the game without the HUD. Really, let's be honest. Those are HUD-less screenshots.
Well, they basically show like a basic kind of like Final Fantasy where all the characters are lined up.
Yep.
But they really don't show anything other than that.
I need to see some video.
Action or if it's anything.
I want to see if it's truly turn-based or if it's a Chrono Trigger style where you have a bar that ticks down and then you can attack once the bar is full.
I think it's going to be an active time battle system.
Yeah.
Old school style. I mean, I can't wait for this game. I can't wait to make my own South Park character and go into the world and have my adventure.
I'm not a huge fan of South Park, but when it comes to an RPG based off of South Park, I'm going to have to buy it.
I mean, the game looks... I mean, when you look at this game, it looks like the TV show. And I think that's really the best thing about it, is that you're not going to lose any immersion ever when you're playing this game. You're going to feel like you're watching the TV show because Trey Parker and Matt Stone are behind this.
Exactly. And I playing through the tower defense game they released years ago now, if they can keep the South Park feel up, it really helps to sell the game. It's a popular IP, and doing anything with it that's especially unique will really push sales.
I just want the game to come out. THQ probably had this game almost all the way done So, it's tough to say that when this game comes out, it's just not soon enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, they still don't have a firm release date.
Nope.
I'll pick it up. I'll play it. Next up, Ubisoft has kind of the mascot of Ubisoft, Rayman, and now the Rabbids. Rayman Legends, a game originally supposed to be a Wii U exclusive, now coming out on everything, including the Vita, which will look really nice because that screen is great for those kinds of games. Rayman Origins looked fantastic on it. Legends will play fine. I played Legends on the Wii U before the Wii U came out. I was able to play the Wii U a couple months before it came out, and the game they had me play was Legends. It played great. It's going to be a great game. I loved Origins. Origins got very hard at points, but Legends will be great. I just don't know if I'm going to get it. I'm sure I'll have fun with it. It would be a great game to play, but I just don't know if I'll buy it. And the Rabbids thing is actually supposed to be tied in with a television show on Nickelodeon. No idea how that works. They said it's a Wii U thing as well as Kinect. I understand how it works with Kinect, but I don't understand how it works with the Wii U because the camera with the Kinect is picking up the children's motions, and I just don't get how that'll translate to the Wii U unless that version will be drastically different.
You have to rub your face against the controller.
I assume that that'll probably be I don't know, your guys' thoughts on Rayman real quick.
I like the Rabbids games. I mean, when I first got my Wii and I got my hands on Rayman, the original Rayman Raving Rabbids game, I mean, just seeing the names of the games that you played, like Rabbids Don't Know What to Do with Cows, was like my favorite thing. You just spin the Wii remote above your head and then you release it, and then the cow flies through the air and goes Marr! And then he hits the ground, and you get a score. They were fun. I don't know what this is going to be, though. I really don't. Because it was just a video.
Yeah. Sure. The Crew. The Crew is Ubisoft's big racing game. This is the same thing I have to say about Need for Speed. Everybody's coming out with their heavy hitter racer. Does this find a place in the marketplace? Do they get a share of all the money? Are there a lot of people knocking down the door to play this game? There's a lot of people saying this game looked really impressive. And there's some neat things with it. They're saying that it actually is quite large. I guess if you want to drive from New York to Los Angeles in the game, it takes like 4 hours.
Nice.
Which is nuts.
I think with racing games is there's really only 3 franchises left. There's Gran Turismo, there's Forza, and there's Need for Speed. Midnight Club came out, I think, 4 years ago. They haven't done one in a long time. I'd love to see a good racing game. Racing games are non-existent now, in all honesty. There used to be tons of racing games galore for every console.
You ended up with just overkill.
Yeah.
There was just too many.
Yeah.
And there's still great ones out there. Like I said before a couple times, Grid 2 is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's a non-traditional
But
franchise.
nobody knows what Grid is.
Yeah, it's non-traditional. It's not one of the big ones that you see advertised on television.
I mean, I played the first Grid and wow. I mean, back then that game looked better than almost everything. I don't know if I'll even remember play Grid 2. Maybe they'll give it to me free with PSN Plus and I'll play it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us here are big racing fans. I grew up playing racing games. I mean, I grew up playing a ton of Midtown Madness, a ton of Need for Speed, but today I want one every couple of years.
Need for Speed ended with Carbon.
Yeah, see, I didn't even play, I never played any of those. I
played the first Most Wanted.
No, I played Underground, and the next one after Underground was the reboot of Hot Pursuit for me.
I'm not a huge fan of racing games, but if they do release another Midtown Madness, I will be the first to buy it.
Yeah,
because I love that game for PC.
Yeah.
It was
when they come out with the next Big Mother Truckers 18-wheeler racing. I am all over that.
Maybe they need to reboot Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, we were actually
Crazy Taxi would be cool.
Simpsons Road Rash.
That was good.
I'm a little weirded out because Pete and I were at an arcade not too long ago that had Big Mother Truckers, and he did not play it. He played Cruisin' USA instead. Now, Cruisin' USA is great. That game has a transmission, but Big Mother Truckers was right next to it, and you neglected to play it.
To be fair, it's Cruisin' USA.
Yeah, Cruisin' USA is great.
I mean, even has a song, Cruisin' USA, and he's got to do it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Now, the next item on our list is something I wrote down just for me because none of y'all played this game.
I didn't.
And never will.
Trials.
I love Trials.
Trials. There's a new fucking Trials game. There's a new Trials game.
By the way,
Dude.
Steve just skipped one.
I did.
He deleted a lot of things, and that's why I was laughing.
Unfortunately, I've had to skip some games because they're games that none of us play, and we are running on with time. I skipped Just Dance 4. You shake your ass. Trials. Yep. Trials is a game that was exclusive to Xbox. There were versions on PC, but Trials Evolution came out on Xbox 360, and it looked great. I never got a chance to play it, and they finally came out with the Trials on Steam for the PC, and I got addicted to that and played 15 hours of it over the course of a weekend and completely lost myself in it because it's a game you can play on mute while you're doing other things. I can have Netflix on one monitor and play it. I can have a podcast on one monitor and play it. And I just got lost in it. It's perfect.
Now,
the controls are amazing. I want this. And I was flipped out because there's a Trials. It's a mobile one, and they announced the mobile one first, and I almost lost my shit. But then they were like, no, we're making a real one too, and it's coming out, and I want it now.
Now, I don't know about you, Steve, but Trials, the biggest part of that game is just the way you crash. Just the way you land on your face.
It's like it's ragdoll physics. It's just nuts.
Yeah, it's so good.
I guess with the new one, they're putting a trick system in. I don't need tricks in my Trials.
Yeah, you crash just as much without them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure it'll be fun. My Trials.
Joe Danger.
Joe Danger is great.
Was pretty good too. Yeah,
I
had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, Joe Danger is wonderful. I bought it as soon as I got a PlayStation. PlayStation 3, I picked it up. Assassin's Creed 4.
Oh, you skipped
it. No, we're going to go back. We're going to talk about The Division, but I want to talk about Assassin's Creed 4 first. Assassin's Creed 4 is an interesting one because I played the first Assassin's Creed, and I really liked it. And I never played any of the other ones. I bought 2 a couple of times and tried to start it. I could never get into it. Ignored Revelations and Brotherhood. I got 3 because it came with my system. I decided to upgrade my PS3. My PS3 was starting to slow down a little bit, so I bought the Super Slim. It came with Assassin's Creed 3, and I was getting ready to just sell the game. I didn't want to play it, and Chris was like, why don't you just play it? Give it a shot. I ended up putting it into the system and playing it. I ended up beating it, and I beat it pretty quick. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well made. Assassin's Creed 4 has my attention.
Oh, yeah.
I want to check it out. It's going to be a complaint that a lot of people have will be that it's going to be like exactly like Assassin's Creed 3. And it's going to happen. It's going to be the same engine. It's going to be the same graphics. It's not going to look amazing because they've been making it for a while. Apparently, they started making it around the same time they were making Assassin's Creed 3. Well, I don't know if anybody else here played Assassin's Creed. I thought 3 was good.
I mean, I love the Assassin's Creed series. 1 was a little bit slow. I enjoyed the rest of them a little bit more. But, I mean, as you hit Black Flag, a lot of people are worried more about, is it just fighting on overseas? You fight more on land as well, but regardless, I feel as though I'm just going to get this, complete my collection. I love the Assassin's Creed games. The fight mechanics are perfect in them.
One of the things they showed was going from on land to on sea in the same mission with no loading times.
Yeah.
They showed a guy coming out from the jungle, hopping right onto a ship and going right into sea warfare.
Another thing I thought was pretty cool was the battles that you have on the boat, where it looks like you can actually control the cannons. You can control pretty much anything you want, even driving the boat yourself.
But you could in 3.
Could you in 3?
Yeah, in 3, you had control of the ship, and you had to this like stream of light would come out from the side of the ship, and that would be where your cannons would go.
Yeah, your cannons would hit.
The naval warfare in 3 was good. There wasn't enough of it unless you sought it out with side missions. I'm not one to play side missions in games. I critical path every game I play for the most part. I don't like going after collectibles. I don't like side missions in my open world games, so I didn't do a lot of it. But I think the little that they gave you in the game, I think you only were behind the mast of a ship a couple times in that game. It was great. It was really well made.
I try to do the most as possible in Assassin's Creed for the side missions. And I just say that because you learn more of the storyline if you do the side missions. If you do just the main story in Assassin's Creed, it really doesn't explain much to you. But when you finish up all the storylines, it kind of like closes the story together for you. So
the story in Assassin's Creed is batshit insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kinda nuts.
It's kind of weird.
Nolan North is on a quest to travel through time with alien women.
Wait, Nolan North?
Nolan North is Desmond. He's like the modern day dude. As various people.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. It's basically just he's in a cave. And he's talking to aliens as they talk to him through the walls.
It's pirates.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like pirates? I mean, I have this obsession with Sid Meier's Pirates.
Yeah.
I don't know who's played it,
Oh,
but I
yeah,
have
of course.
all the way back to Nintendo. I found a game, and it's just called Pirates. And it's basically the same thing as Sid Meier's Pirates, which they brought out first a long time ago for the Xbox, the original Xbox.
The Xbox One.
Yeah, the original Xbox, and it was a great game. It was really fun, and it was so quirky and quick hitting. And then they made a version for the PSP, and I got into that. Basically, I've bought every version of this game I can find. I'm not really a big Assassin's Creed guy like Russell. Russell's played through these. I love watching people who can play these games, but there's just too many controls for me. Like, I think you have a stick, the control sticks, they're analog. If you push it forward gently, you should be able to walk through the crowd gently. If you push it forward fast, all the way forward, you should be able to push through the crowd, faster. I shouldn't have to hold a button to make my guy gently walk through a crowd.
No, they did change it, I think, where if you hold down a trigger, then you start sprinting. I think if you hold X, that's when you start pushing people out of the way. So I guess, yeah, you're right in that aspect. It's a little strange, but I don't mind it all that much.
I mean, there's just a lot of controls for stabbing a guy in the face.
Yeah.
Seems like it'd be a one-button thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you ever play any of those?
I really haven't. I tried Assassin's Creed 1 for 5 or 10 minutes. But it's basically...
Technical difficulties.
Oh, it's basically, it's just not my game. I'm not... I like to run and murder a bunch of things, and then when people come after me, it's, oh, you have to pay for your crimes. I want to murder them too. I don't want to have to stop or slow down.
Oh, dude, I was public enemy number 1 in Assassin's Creed 3. I was on every wanted poster in that game. I was murking fools. Just straight up, I had a hatchet, and that was going into everybody's head.
In all honesty, the only reason I wanted to play Assassin's Creed 3 was when they showed the naval battles. Yeah. I was like, oh, pirates. I want to play it.
It was well done.
So I might, in all honesty, I might play Assassin's Creed 4. And it'll be the first one since the original.
The Division.
Oh
this is
God.
their game that they were coming out with. This is the Watch Dogs of 2013. It's Ubisoft's big mystery game. It's a Tom Clancy game, which is interesting because a few months ago, maybe even a year ago at this point, they were doing a big play for a new Rainbow Six. And that was supposed to be a really big deal. And I haven't seen anything to do with that in a while. So maybe the Division has replaced that in the roster of Tom Clancy games that are on the horizon. The Division is an MMO. I've never gotten into an MMO. I played beta for Old Republic, and I've played a little bit of Defiance.
Now,
that's it.
A quick thing on the Division and the Tom Clancy name. Ubisoft basically owns Tom Clancy's name. I don't know if anybody really knows this, that they can slap Tom Clancy on anything they want now.
Yeah, these have nothing to do with the books. Like,
yes.
Rainbow Six was actually a book.
Yes.
Like, that was a book series. I've read that book.
It. Yeah, I have too. And it's... they can slap it on anything, but this game looks impressive. I've only seen a little bit of it. They start out, and the thing I've seen on it is they give you basically, it's an MMO, like Steve said, and they give you supplies for 72 hours. They give you food, rations, and, some gun and ammo, and then you basically start the game and go. I really can't wait to play this.
What I saw from that game was basically you could make decisions pretty much anywhere you wanted
And
to.
on the fly.
There would be a mission where you needed to save hostages, or there would be a mission where you would need to clear out a railway. It seems like there's a lot of different things you can actually do in the game without having to do the actual storyline. And you can actually play online with your friends and be cooperative instead of killing them.
It's a really cool looking game.
Happen.
I don't know if I can get into it. If it's going to be a thing where I have to pay $15 a month every month, no.
I'm
not going to do it.
I hope you don't have to pay for it.
That's the only thing. Yeah, the pay-to-play games, they kind of
There's a lot of them. I mean, me and Russell are looking forward to Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn on the PlayStation 3. I've pre-ordered the Collector's Edition. I pray to God I get into the beta so I can see this game before I waste my $80 and hopefully play the game.
And it's better than the PC version.
Exactly. I want it to be good, and I have issues getting into MMOs because it is a time thing and a monthly thing. I mean, granted, I'm going to spend $80. I'm going to get some really cool stuff with it, and then I'm going to have to spend $15 the next month, and $15 the next month. And what happens when I get Madden? You know, and that takes away a lot of my gameplay time, and everybody's advancing from where I am, and am I going to be able to get back in and play with them? You know, that's the MMO problem, is if you play an MMO, especially on a console, because console games, you come out with a lot more of them, you know, rather than World of Warcraft, where if you play World of Warcraft, that's the game you play, you know, for the most part.
If you're left behind, you're left behind.
Exactly, you know, and I don't want to be left behind. I want to enjoy this game and have some fun with it, but at $15 a month, I feel like I'm not locked into it, but I got to play it, you know, every couple days to be able to feel like that $15 a month is going somewhere.
It's the MMO genre is a genre that's dying.
Yeah.
You know, World of Warcraft is losing
Slowly.
subscribers. You know, you're seeing the transition to MOBAs. Dota 2 is taking over. League of Legends is taking over. And that's going to be the big switch. I think within the next couple of years, that's going to be a big switch. And it just seems very strange that so many developers are putting so much time and effort into MMOs, and none of them are paying off. Old Republic crash and burned. Defiance, I wouldn't say crash and burn. It's a great game.
It's free to play, though.
Yeah, but it's free, and it's free to play, so that does help.
Defiance is fun, by the way.
Every week you hear about a new MMO coming out, and you hear it coming out, and then you don't hear anything about it ever again.
Yeah, it comes out big, and people are like, oh, it's going to be bigger than World of Warcraft. It'll be bigger than any MMO you've played. It comes out, it dies within a week.
What's the one you played? The Korean one with the as your armor gets better, they wear less clothing.
Oh, that was
it Rift?
Terra?
Terra. That was it.
That was Terra. Yeah, and you could play as the little elf girls. That kind of made me feel.
And as you got better with the armor, they got less clothing, which was cool.
Oh yeah, dude. The mages would. Yeah.
Well, you don't need, you know, when you're good with your armor, you don't need a lot of it because you know where you're going to be hit.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Slap someone in the face
MMOs
with your
are kind of on the way out, and it's free to play that might take over. We'll see.
That pretty much wraps up for Ubisoft. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back with PlayStation 4. Stay tuned. PlayStation 4, arguably the system that won E3. They just came out, Jack Tretton came out and was like, Microsoft, fuck yourselves. We got used games and real names and social media, and I own you. The games, though, they showed a lot of games, and we've already talked about some of them, so we're going to skip some of the stuff we've already talked about. We don't want to repeat ourselves too much. We're going to start off with Beyond, and Beyond is an interesting one. I love Heavy Rain. I love David Cage. I'm going to play this game. I'm going to buy it day one. But here's the interesting thing about this game. They've talked about it at length, that this game takes place over a very long period of time, like 20 years. And when they unveiled this game originally, they showed a lot of supernatural stuff.
That's all they showed.
Yeah, the main character has essentially an apparition that follows her around and helps her out in sticky situations. In this trailer, they showed absolutely none of that, and showed her going through a lot of military training. And I kind of figured that that's what was going to happen at some point, that the government would use her to train or something like that, because they did an event at the Tribeca Film Festival where they showed a trailer of this game, and she was kind of like a beggar on the street playing guitar for money, and she gets into a fight with these kids, and you can tell immediately her fighting skills, like she's had training. So I assume that this is just a larger part of the main story, but it just seemed like a topic that everybody was talking about, that they would talk about so much of this one element of the game and then show none of it. But at the same time, I think that's good, because it shows that this game is not a one-trick pony. It's got a lot going on with it, and hopefully it's a long game that is going to show you a true journey of this character over the course of time. I hope it's not just, hey, here she is at 8 years old, and we're going to fast forward right to 18. You know?
Yeah, because they show her early on in a headset, you know, as basically a 5 or 6 year old in the headset talking to people, and then they show her later on in like the teens, and then they go on later, and she's actually doing like an incursion into some, you know, foreign country.
I mean, if it's anything like Heavy Rain, I mean, the storyline should be solid, the gameplay should be great. I'm just hoping that they cover everything during this whole game and they don't leave. The part that Steve was talking about with the superpowers, just, it kind of did, it threw me off a little bit, just not knowing whether or not how the game's going to play. But other than that, like I said, it should be a great game when it comes out.
It's QuickTime events like Heavy Rain. It's Heavy Rain, which is fine, because that game was great, and I want more of it, because there's nobody else doing anything like it.
I just don't want to see too much of it. I kind of want to go into this game blind. Like,
yeah, I don't want to watch, like, The Last of Us. I didn't watch any of the stuff that they showed. I'll do the same with Beyond. I just don't want to know. Grand Theft Auto 5, which is a game, we're not going to even talk about because they didn't show it at E3. Rockstar just doesn't show games at E3. That's a big game that's coming out.
Well, why do that? It's not like promoting their game or anything.
They don't need it.
Yeah,
they get
true.
the Game Informer
There's
cover.
A lot of 5-year-olds that want to play that.
Well, Grand Theft Auto gets the Game Informer cover, and then they give their exclusives to IGN. They don't need it. They've never needed it. Beyond is a day one purchase. It really is.
And I'm hoping they have the choices they do as of the.
I can't imagine you're going to have choice because it doesn't seem like it's set up that way. When you're talking about the life of this girl, you're not going to be able to have her die because then the game just ends, an hour into it.
Yeah, the ghost can't play herself.
Unless they do something crazy like that, where you're just playing as the ghost.
Well, I mean, kind of like The Walking Dead, where you can, you could save someone in a certain situation, or you can totally just destroy everything and mess up the whole situation. Something like that. Not where, there's a gun to your head and you either think fast or you die, and then boom, it's on to the next character.
Now, I probably shouldn't even ask this question, but Pete, did you play Heavy Rain?
I did not play Heavy Rain.
Fuck off. All right.
I do know about Heavy Rain. You can press X to Jason.
Yes, you can press X to Jason. Or you can ignore him being kidnapped and stare at stylish men's pants in the window at the mall.
Both viable options.
I would do the pants.
Yeah. I don't like pants. I'm wearing shorts right now, and I ordered a new pair of shorts this morning as my constant rebellion against pants.
There's only one person with pants on in here, just so you know.
Yeah, that is a little strange.
I'm not allowed to wear pants at work. Eat me.
Hey, I just want to say that we're all wearing something over underwear. We're not sitting around doing a podcast naked.
No, I said I'm wearing shorts.
Yeah,
I'm naked.
Oh, great.
He took his shirt off earlier.
I did.
Speaking of shirts coming off, Walking Dead. Walking Dead was shown at E3 as a big Vita title. Here's the issue with this, though. It's coming out on the Vita, which is wonderful, but it's coming out on the Vita after it's already come out on everything else. They are doing a bundle with the Vita where you're going to get the full first season of Walking Dead and the 400 Days DLC. Now, I don't know if they're talking about 400 Days specifically or Season 2. I imagine if they're going to put this much effort into linking 400 Days with the Vita, that Season 2 would launch day and date with the Vita along with PC and Xbox Live and PSN. I played The Walking Dead on PC episodically. I wasn't one of the people that waited until the very end. I love the game. I thought it was great. I want more of it.
I mean, from Telltale, they did a great job of The Walking Dead. But I mean, any of the survival horror games, it kind of cut it down a little bit for me. I really didn't like the new Walking Dead that came out.
Oh, Survival Instinct?
Survival Instinct was kind of... It seemed like they rushed it to put it out.
They did.
They wanted it out before the end of Season 2.
Yeah.
Or
Season 3 of the show.
The only problem I have is with it coming out on the systems before it's out on the Vita is that just kills the sale for the Vita. Because if you have a Vita, you most likely have a PS3, which means you most likely already played the game.
True.
So that kind of kills it for the Vita.
I guess the nice thing about the Vita is, and Limbo came out for the Vita, and I didn't even realize it was coming out for the Vita. Turn on my PlayStation, and I downloaded it for free. Yay. Vita Limbo free.
Yeah.
Maybe they do it with Walking Dead. I doubt it, because that's going to be a moneymaker.
Well, they give you the first episode for free. They'll probably do that with Season 2 as well.
Yeah, they do.
The issue is, I will happily play this game on my Vita, but if it's not going to come out until after the PC version... Actually, no, I'm sorry, I can't. I can't because choices will carry over. My save file is on PC. So I'm locked in. So like Chris played on PS3, he's locked into the PS3 unless they're going to do some type of cloud save where it comes over to your Vita.
Well, they could always do what they did with Mass Effect 2 for the PlayStation. It came out and they gave you a motion comic or whatever they
different
did.
Decisions.
Yeah, but that doesn't help people that played it on a different system, though. It doesn't help people that played it on a different system play it on a new system.
Well, because the thing with Mass Effect, though, is it only gave you, certain decisions. It didn't give
like
you,
the Arachnite Queen and all that stuff.
Yeah, it didn't give you the full gameplay.
Well, I mean, they could do something just like that if you know what your decisions are or you want to do a quick recap. You could go through all, 30,
They probably
40
will,
decisions.
though, if they end up putting it onto another system or a next-gen system that you can't transfer your stuff over to.
Yeah.
you know, you could pick your stuff.
With the
real
amount of
quick and get on
compatibility
with it.
between the Vita and the PlayStation 4 that they're pushing, it would be nice if they could do something like that. But I think this is such a specialized case, they're not going to put the money and time and effort into it for just a handful of games.
To be fair, you know, trying not to hit any spoilers on the Walking Dead.
Especially because Chris hasn't finished it.
Yeah, cover your ears.
How long
and
has
say
it
la,
been
la,
out?
la, la.
Wait, how long?
He doesn't finish anything though.
No,
Can we,
he
like,
doesn't.
Just talk about video games.
Yeah, I know.
It-
He needs to finish Persona so I can talk to somebody about it.
Yeah.
I need to talk to somebody about Chie.
Basically, for The Walking Dead, a lot of decisions will carry over from one episode to the other, but it might not carry over season to season. There could be things, certain handful of things that will transfer over, but the majority of them could have been fulfilled in earlier episodes and not matter.
Yeah, it could be a totally different group of people.
Yeah. The way, not to spoil anything, but the way that The Walking Dead Season 1 game ends, they have to keep some of that going, that storyline going. Just the way, Russell, you finished it, didn't you?
I love the game.
Yeah, like just the way it ends, it's a very, these people ride off into the sunset, and it's just, you have to keep that going.
After each chapter, they kind of leave you on a cliffhanger, but I mean, at the end of it, they just leave you hanging.
Yeah.
There's no explanation. I mean, you kind of understand what's going on, but other than that, you're really just left in the dark.
Moving on, or no, if you want to say something, go ahead.
Just a quick thing. My biggest problem with The Walking Dead is, and I'm going to be in the majority of this, there's really no control changes. I'm the kind of guy who plays an inverted control scheme, and if I have to push up on the D-pad to make my cursor go up, it's a problem for me. So, and it's not to say that I don't like The Walking Dead. I watched The Walking Dead Season 1 in a day after I found it on Netflix. So, I not to say that I'm not going to finish Season 1. I will. I finished the first 2, and I'll finish them. But give me a control scheme. Something.
I don't play Inverted Man, but I couldn't shoot a damn thing in that game.
Yeah.
I could not hit a
And
damn
it's even
thing.
harder for me because then I'm going up and down and I'm all around the place. And
I could not hit anything. People would just die because of my horrible shooting.
The Order 1886 is a new IP that they're showing, made by, this is the Santa Monica game, right?
yeah, Santa Monica. It's not made by Santa Monica.
But it's
Santa Monica Studios.
Yeah, Santa Monica Studios. They're best known for
The show.
The show. Yeah. It takes place in ye old England, and it's werewolves. Apparently, it looks like werewolves, and I assume it'll be some type of shooter. The thing that I'm interested in is they made a big deal in that trailer to show the sign that says Whitechapel. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with this. Whitechapel is the home of Jack the Ripper. I'm curious if this is a Jack the Ripper is a werewolf or Jack the Ripper leads a werewolf game, because that would be awesome.
Werewolf Jets.
Other than the video, I haven't seen much on it, but I've heard,
That's the only thing I've seen. I don't think they had it
that
playable.
they're trying to be more historical accurate. I mean, obviously
There's werewolves in the game.
and just behind the game, they want it to be right.
There's
That's
werewolves.
the look
Dude,
of the
they have a
game.
fucking electricity gun.
I don't know. It's
This
a
is
Tesla
the
gun.
least
They have that.
Yeah, that's a thing.
It's called a cell phone.
Yeah, this is the least historically accurate game imaginable.
I think they're going by time period.
Okay,
historically accurate.
Alternate universe, historically accurate.
I think Knack
Time
is
period.
realistic.
Knack, yeah, Toblerone. We might as well just get into Knack. Knack is a game that...
Toblerone.
Toblerone monster. Knack is a game I want to play. The problem is, I don't need a PlayStation 4 to play it because it's coming out on Vita, and I have a Vita. And it's going to be great. Mark Cerny is making it. Mark Cerny has made some great games in the past. It'll be a really fun platforming action game. It'll be their next Sly or Ratchet and Clank or Jack game. Sony was famous for that with the PlayStation 2. They didn't see any of that stuff on the PlayStation 3. And they're
it's
bringing it
something
back.
There was 4 Ratchet games or technically 5 Ratchet games on the PS3.
When I think Ratchet and
almost.
Clank, though, I think PlayStation 2.
Yeah, you do
Yeah,
because
true.
it's
They're all PS2
sadly
games.
as people mature, they're not playing those games that they play because the Ratchet on the PS2 is amazing. This is the best looking PS3 games out there. Were the Ratchet games, and they were highly overlooked on the PS3. Between Tools of Destruction, Quest for Booty,
Crack in Time. That's the only one I
and
played.
All for One. And
yeah.
All for One necessarily isn't a Ratchet game. It has all the Ratchet players in it, but it's not a specific Ratchet game. Free on PSN Plus.
We're just a shilling. We are sponsored by PlayStation Plus, I should point out.
Chivos.
I mean,
I'm an Xbox guy.
even with Knack, it's a different game. You know, you're a little robot that once you beat up stuff, you pretty much collect it.
It's not blue and orange.
He's gold.
He's gold. It's new.
Oh yeah, he's bling bling.
This transitions in well to Killzone, which is the complete and total opposite of Knack. Killzone, I don't care about Killzone. I'll let you guys talk about Killzone. I think Killzone is terrible.
Killzone 2, I got lost in Killzone 2 because Killzone 2 got to be a kind of a drag in the middle portion of it. Killzone 3, I beat in 2 days. That game sucked me in, and I loved the little mech things, and I just blazed through that game, and I was happy when I finished it, and I played the online, and the online was fun.
I loved all the Killzones. I don't understand why Steve doesn't like them. Maybe the controls are a little bit too difficult for him.
Well, it's a heavy game. Killzone is a heavy game. Where Call of Duty, you make all these snap movements. Killzone, you feel like you've got an 80-pound gun in your hand.
The aiming seems a little different, and when you run with a weapon, it actually kind of seems like you're running with a weapon.
Yeah, I turned the sensitivity all the way up, and it still just wasn't enough for me.
I understand where Steve always comes from with this, but I just can't agree with him because if you have a big gun in your hand and you're trying to turn, guess what? It's going to take a second to turn.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Listen,
difficult.
I have a gun all the time, and I move very fast with it.
You're never had agile.
I am a
They call it a sharpshooter.
I am a panther mixed with a cheetah.
A panther.
I am a panther with a
puma.
I am a puma with a gun. I've never had a problem turning. I've never had difficulties turning.
You never slammed it into a wall or anything?
No.
We all have trouble turning in this room.
I don't have trouble turning from side to side, up and down. Is a little bit difficult. And this transitions well to Transistor, which is the next game on our list, makers of Bastion Supergiant Games. I want to play this, but it looks really weird.
Yeah, it looked cool the way it started off, but it just seemed like a lot of the same. You were doing the same thing over and over.
It's a tactics game, which I don't think people realize. I think people are thinking this is Bastion 2.
Yeah, it's
not. This is a stop and plan ahead game.
Yep.
Which will be fun because it's something different. But I just don't know if I'm going to like it as much as I like Bastion.
I think it comes along with the gameplay as well, because the gameplay they showed kind of seemed fast-paced, and they didn't really show much of the battle. But then when they did show fight scenes, they didn't show the turn-based.
The trailer that they showed at E3 is the same trailer they showed at PAX East. If you go and search any Transistor footage from PAX, they actually show real gameplay, and then you can actually watch like 15 minutes of someone actually playing the game.
Okay, everybody obviously knows that Bastion is their first game, or whatever it is before this.
They worked on Command and Conquer games. At least members of that team worked on Command and Conquer games.
Okay, is Transistor going to be on the Xbox One?
It's not coming out for quite some time. It's listed as 2014 and not like early 2014 at that. I imagine it's going to come out on PC. But Bastion was out on Xbox 360 first.
And it was a big, huge Xbox Live
Bastion did very
title.
well.
I didn't get it until it hit PC.
Yep.
And it came to PS3 eventually, didn't it?
No.
It never
Braid
did.
has.
Braid was the one that did. I played Bastion on PC.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just question it because it's one of the games that made XBLA, and it's gone. If it's not going to be on the Xbox One. And I doubt it because they're going to take a quarter of your profits.
Final Fantasy 15, formerly Versus 13. I don't have anything to say on Final Fantasy. It
looked cool.
Yeah, what they showed was very fast-paced, very different.
If you're big into the Final Fantasy, you see Behemoth, and you see some other notable characters, and it looked good.
Yeah, there was a lot of action and a lot of small amount of time.
Gameplay.
Yeah. It just seems strange because now we're moving on to 15. There's obviously been spin-offs, but we'll just talk about just numbered games. I played the first 7. I realize now I have not played any of the next 7. I didn't play 8 through, and I probably won't play 15. They just don't interest me anymore. I can't get into them. And it's strange. I thought maybe I just don't like JRPGs anymore, but I just played Persona and loved it. So it's not that. It's just
I think
Final Fantasy doesn't
the
interest me
style,
anymore.
yeah. The only Final Fantasies I can say, and probably Chris can go the same with me, is the online ones. I mean, I can really only get into Final Fantasy 11, and I'm really hoping for the new one that comes out, the A Realm Reborn. Just because you can pretty much do whatever you want, and you can create your character on how you want. Final Fantasy really doesn't offer that. They give you one character, and that's pretty much the story.
Going back, my wheelhouse is PlayStation 1. You know, I bought 7, 8, 9 on the day they came out. I bought 10 the day they came out on the PlayStation 2. 11 I never played because I didn't have internet until it came out on the Xbox, which is funny, and I played it on the Xbox. 12, in all honesty, I've never played. 13 I liked. 14 I'm looking forward to. 15 looks cool.
15 looks really good.
It does.
Here's another game I can't talk about. Kingdom Hearts 3. Never played any of them. I will maybe eventually.
Kingdom Hearts is a really cool franchise where I tried to play the first game and I got caught up on the beach and like basically the beginning opening level, and it was just like, where do I go? Give me some direction.
I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game, but if they make an HD remake,
They are.
I'll pick it up, and 3, it'll just lead right into 3 if I like it enough,
It'll be cool. And the big thing about 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3 are they're coming out on the Xbox One. They came out the next morning and said, by the way, these are coming out on the Xbox One. The problem with it is they didn't say it or show it. And Sony is, because it's Sony's. It's really Sony's game.
It's going to make people associate it with the PlayStation.
Exactly.
Because when we got friends who are Xbox One guys or Xbox guys, and they wanted this, and they were like, I'm gonna have to buy a PlayStation 4 just so I can play Kingdom Hearts 3. And then they're like, I don't have to because it's gonna be on the Xbox One. But they didn't know it because they didn't show it.
Yeah, I like everybody else here, don't have any personal experience playing Kingdom Hearts. I've watched people play it, and it's enjoyable to even sit back and watch. I don't get any of it. You talk to Mickey Mouse and Daffy Duck.
A lot of Tron.
Yeah. Well, basically every Disney game, every Disney universe has its own world.
Here's the interesting thing, not to cut Pete off. Everybody's like, well, this means Star Wars, because Disney owns Star Wars.
They've got to put it in it.
Nope. No. Here's the problem. EA owns the rights to Star Wars games.
There's things in the EA license where other companies can have rights to it. It's not just EA. EA has, I believe it's so hard to explain how the EA license works. It's everything that's tied into the movies, I think, is they have rights to. But they have to have permission to do anything as well.
Well, they're basically sharing it then.
Yeah.
They don't really own it, but they have the majority of it.
It's a weird license.
Next one on our list, we can't say anything about it because we didn't see much of it. Mad Max. Trailer and that's it, and not even a trailer that gives you any type of info what this game is. I have a feeling this game will be a cheap movie tie-in because they are remaking Mad Max with Tom Hardy. That movie probably won't be as good, and this game probably will be terrible.
My problem is it's a video game that comes out far, far past its time. Mad Max was how long ago?
It's going to be based off the reboot.
Yeah, and it's also not going to come out for a while.
Yeah.
But, I think of Mad Max.
Some people are
pumped
pumped about it. The guys that make the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 abridged videos really love this game.
Well,
you have to be older to appreciate it because, in all honesty, I'm 35 and I just watched Mad Max last year.
I'm probably going to get it, truthfully, because, Mad Max, I loved Mad Max. And a video game where you can just, do stupid things and just destroy people. I'm probably going to
I have to say for a fact that I know it's going to be better than the NES game. Right?
No, the NES game will dominate.
Yeah. Listen, I'm 47 years old. I just want a Tina Turner game. That's all I want. Thunderdome. I just want Thunderdome. Here, the next game we're going to talk about, I'm going to skip one. We're going to get back to it because it's a game we have to talk about. Next one real quick, Arkham Origins. It's a multi-platform game. They made a big deal out of it at the Sony press conference. They're going to give you exclusive outfits. They're going to give you an Azrael outfit and an Adam West outfit. I don't like the Batman games. I am the biggest Batman fan you will find. I love Batman. I love everything about Batman. I don't like the Arkham City and Arkham Asylum games. Just don't like them.
Is there anything specific that you don't
Arkham
like
City,
on
I got
them,
lost
or-
too easily. I got lost a lot in Arkham City. I don't like the combat. The combat system is great, but there's a game that did it better, Sleeping Dogs.
Now,
Sleeping Dogs did that combat system to a perfection.
when I played Arkham Asylum, it actually came across too easy for me. But then I own Arkham City, but I haven't had a chance to actually get deep into it yet. I know the fighting style, and I played a little bit of it, but I haven't actually went through the giant world of Arkham City.
Sleeping Dogs did it better.
Did they?
I like Sleeping Dogs. I've
The combat system's good. I don't really have anything on the Batman games. They look cool. I don't like the Batman character in it. I mean, the guy's got like a goddamn house for a jaw.
Oh yeah, true.
You could tone it down a little bit. Batman is not a bodybuilder.
I do like the fighting system though. The fighting system kind of reminds me of Assassin's Creed, where it's very fast paced.
Yes. Yeah, that's fine.
I personally, I do like the Sterling Archer Batman that we get into Arkham City there. And
Wait. Sterling as in Archer? How do you get Sterling Archer?
That's his first name.
What? No, I know Archer.
yeah.
I know Archer's first name is Sterling.
He's got a chiseled jaw.
Yeah. Oh, okay, fine.
By the way,
yes.
Nolan North is in Arkham City.
Nolan North is a penguin.
He's a British penguin.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I'm really looking forward to it. I don't like the dumping Kevin Conroy for another voice actor. And I know
for Joker?
No, Joker is
Batman.
Mark Hamill.
He's Batman.
Wait, Batman? Who are they changing to Batman?
I don't remember.
Kiefer Sutherland is Batman.
I'm Batman.
He does everything.
Wait a minute, that's me.
Yeah.
Kevin
Tom
Conroy
Hardy.
has been
That's
the
Mad
voice
Max.
for Batman for forever.
As we record this podcast, Dark Knight Rises is the new movie on HBO tonight. So, next on our list, this is a game that we've had many arguments over at work, Destiny. I am not impressed with this game. Chris thinks it's the greatest thing of all time.
See, here's the thing with Destiny, and some people will agree, some people won't. I am the biggest proprietor of the original Halo game. The original Halo game
was terrible.
Was amazing. You know, as a console guy, and I am a strictly console player, Halo was amazing. I bought an Xbox for Halo, period. That was it. I owned Halo for like 6 months before I even looked at anything else. You know, in this game, it looks like Halo. The guns move like Halo. The enemies kind of look Halo-ish. But you know what? I'm going to be able to play it on my PlayStation. And it looks like a mix of, it's a mix of Halo, Borderlands, and Mass Effect. And I don't know if you can get a better combination of games there.
Depends on what you take.
Just Mass Effect?
No, just because the force ball they throw, in the one scene where the guy comes out of the wall and like, boom, ball, it's just like, yay.
The sound effects don't really do it without the hand gestures.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they can't see the hand gestures. That's the problem.
It really looks like it's going to be a fun game. If you enjoyed the Halo series, this is going to be the successor from the creators of Halo. It's supposed to be able to be a game that's supposed to last the system. Going to last a long time. You make progress, you keep the progress, and you continue.
My problem is going back to MAG, is having a massive multiplayer shooter on an actual console that pretty much
But it's going to be
doesn't
drop in,
last.
drop out. Mass Effect, Destiny, I think, is going to play a lot more like, and this is going to be a weird kind of comparison, Journey, where you're just kind of playing along, and unless you're playing with your group of dudes that you play with, people are just going to kind of drop in, and hopefully you can play with them. I hope that's the way it goes. I hope it's not just you and 10,000 other people. I hope you're playing along, and some guy comes up to you, and just like the first opening scene where they show the big giant wall that's in the middle, and then the guy drops out of the ship, and, he waves at you. And
it's not going to be an MMO in the traditional sense. It's going to be an MMO where you're going to be on a server with only 50 other people.
Well, I mean, MMO is considered massive multiplayer online.
It's a comparison that you can make with this game, but it's not necessarily what this game is.
Yeah, true.
It looks all right. It's just that out of the two big first-person shooters we saw, Titanfall and Destiny, I have more interest in Titanfall because I get the itch every couple of years for a competitive first-person shooter. I said this at the beginning of the podcast, I don't play games online, and I really don't. I play very few online, and the only ones I play are the occasional first-person shooter online. I don't play sports games online. I don't play fighting games online because of lag. I don't play games online, but every once in a while I want to play a first-person shooter online. Whether that's just because I want to be part of the experience that everybody else is having. If the entire gaming world is playing one game, you kind of want to be a part of that. You know, you kind of want to be able to share stories with everybody else, because then you just feel like you're left out of the conversation. You know, it's like something like this, where if we're all playing the same game, we can talk about it. But if only I'm playing this game and nobody else I know is talking about it, then I have no one to talk to, and then I feel less interested in playing it.
What Steve's really talking about is, like, yesterday, you know, The Last of Us launched, and we all own PlayStations except, well, Pete owns one. It's just never on.
It's Netflix.
I turned my PlayStation on, and guess what? Everyone on my friends list is playing The Last of Us. Everyone. Not one person is playing a different game.
I was the only one that wasn't playing multiplayer, apparently.
Well, I just wanted to get a feel for the controls.
Hey, man, you didn't ask. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, why does anybody want to play multiplayer with me?
You never want to play games
This whole
with
podcast
us, so.
is just for Steve to bring up that nobody invites him to multiplayer.
Exactly. Real quick, we talked about it a little bit before. Indie games on the PlayStation 4. They showed a lot of them at E3.
Jesus.
They showed a lot of indie games that have already been out for months, if not years, on other systems, which is fine. No, I'm sorry, other systems, PC. You know, Don't Starve was one that everybody's excited about. I can go home. I can go upstairs and play Don't Starve right now if I wanted to. I don't have to wait
for your laptop.
Yeah, I don't have to. I don't have to wait. It's great that they're doing this. I don't really care that they're giving you games that are already out. It shows initiative and it shows willingness to give people a shot. And we talked about it earlier. They're allowing them to self-publish. They showed a wide variety of indie games. They showed everything from Don't Starve to the remake of Oddworld to
With Lauren Lanning standing on stage.
To Octodad Deadliest Catch.
Game of the show.
Game of show.
Dude, Octodad, I can't wait for that.
Pixel FM, Game of Show, Octodad, Deadliest Catch. It's going to be the greatest thing I've ever played in my life. I want it.
Although when the new Oddworld game comes out, you guys probably won't see me for a couple of months because I will beat that as soon as possible.
It's weird because they work with
It's going to take you a couple months to beat Oddworld.
It was impressive to see the guys they trotted up on stage. You know, Lauren Lanning standing there is a big deal that most people might not even get. But, you know, in its time, Oddworld Inhabitants was huge.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so
you know, on
good.
the PS1, when they came out with Oddworld, that was totally different. A fart button? Bring it back, baby.
GTA, the original Grand Theft Auto had one, though.
Did it?
It was on one of the triggers.
Okay.
Or, one of the shoulder buttons on the PS1. I think it's nice that PlayStation 4 is giving indies the stage, quite literally. At the reveal, they had Jonathan Blow come up and talk about The Witness, and at E3 they had Greg from Super Giant Games come out and talk about Transistor. And it's nice to see him do that.
They're making it a lot easier for them to publish their own games. You know, it's not going to cost them an arm and a leg.
They let them make the money.
Yep.
Put out a game that someone will play.
They need to compete with Steam. You know, they need to. And it's going to be tough because right now they're playing catch-up. They're releasing games that have already come out. You'll start to see more day-and-date releases on both across the way, because these developers aren't going to give up publishing on Steam. They do too well on it.
No, of course not.
You know, but if they can get a deal where, hey, you know, we do PlayStation 4 for the first month, or we do PlayStation 4 the same day, it opens it up.
Well, kind of think about it like the way you said earlier with the Greenlight project. Why mess with Greenlight when you can go to Sony and say, here's my game?
Yeah.
You don't have to mess with Greenlight. Guess what? $10 a game. It's yours. And that's the thing, you know, the big thing with indies, and I'm not really a big indie guy, and Steve will know this because, like, the Steam thing doesn't necessarily entice me all that much, but when they showed, I mean, I watch a lot of YouTubers, and Jesse Cox played Don't Starve, and I wanted to play that game. And when they put it on the stage, I sent Steve a message that said, Don't Starve, you know, in bold letters, and I'm psyched to be able to play that game on my PlayStation.
The last game for our PlayStation 4 topic is one that we're probably not going to talk about that much. I don't think it's one that any of us are interested in. It's another MMO. It's Elder Scrolls Online. I don't have a lot of love for that series. I like Skyrim. Skyrim was good, but it's an MMO, and I don't care.
Well, they're saying it's going to be more real-time action instead of, you know, go, attack. And then he goes and
They're just hitting a hotkey on a bar.
Yeah, it's going to be more action stuff. And
if they keep it like Skyrim and Oblivion, I'll play it.
Yes.
But if it's Final Fantasy 11, like which, you know, as you were saying, you just press one button and wait for your character to do pretty much every move, I get bored really fast.
Yep.
I fall asleep with the controller and then I don't get healed and die. So pretty much they need to make something that can actually like keep me in the game, keep me interested, and basically just make it like Skyrim or Oblivion and just an MMO.
Yeah.
And I'll play it.
Give me real-time action.
I really think they gotta rework the fighting from Skyrim and Oblivion. It gets repetitive in the single-player game, and I can't imagine, click, swing sword, hold, swing sword differently. It's not gonna
800 hours.
Yeah, it's not gonna be something fun to grind. It's not gonna be something fun to
they could
fight
change,
other people.
The thing
could
that's kind of
change the
neat about it,
attacks.
who are into like the real lore, like my old boss used to read the books in Oblivion. Oh god. And it's impressive that they're actually going to go back and they're going to kind of go into each area of Skyrim, or each area of the world that you've already been in Tamriel.
Yeah, it's like me in Mass
different
Effect. I read all the codex entries in Mass Effect.
Yeah. It could be cool.
Moving on to just talk about system stuff like we do with Xbox. Sony did announce very quietly, very slyly, that you are going to have PlayStation Plus to play online. This shouldn't be a complaint that you have. PlayStation Plus is a wonderful value. We talk a lot about how great Sony is because we all have PlayStation 3s, but it really is. Just looking at it objectively, I am not... I have a PlayStation 3 that is my console of choice, but I am not a console gamer. I go to PC first always. PlayStation Plus is a tremendous value. I have gotten countless games for free or discounts or whatever it may be, and they're going to continue that. They're giving you Drive Club for free day one. It's not going to change. It's $50 a year. It's less than Xbox Live. It shouldn't be a complaint of yours if it is. It's fine that they're going to require it. That money is going to go towards building better servers. Then I hope it. I wish them all the well.
I hope they take that money and instead of what Microsoft does is take their Xbox Live money and shove it into Activision's pockets for the free month of but the exclusive month of Call of Duty games.
Battlefield 4.
Battlefield 4. The thing with the Battlefield 4 is they said the first expansion is going to be a month exclusive on Xbox One. Please be the only first month. Okay, and back to PlayStation Plus. I've paid for it every year since the second week it came out. I've got so many free games, and these aren't bad games either, man. They give you good games. I just got XCOM. They gave away Uncharted 3. Everything from Tomb Raider. The minis, they kind of drained out on the minis, and they're working more for the PSN Plus game or the PSN games and full PS3 games. It's a good service, and you guys will appreciate it.
Vita just gave out Blaze Blue.
Yeah.
Virtue's Last Rewards comes out this month.
They gave you Gravity
really?
Rush.
Yeah.
I mean the Vita. If you have a Vita and you don't have PlayStation Plus, you're dumb.
I didn't have to buy a game on my Vita until Persona because all my stuff came through Plus.
I mean, they gave you Gravity Rush. I mean, the Vita is a struggling console. Period. But they gave you Gravity Rush, which is their one title that's PS Vita exclusive that is really good.
I mean, Chris can even side with me here. About probably 150 gigs of my system is the free games from Plus.
More than that.
And I mean, if they even they add on, that has to be your gameplay. That really doesn't affect me at all because I'm already profiting from everything they're already giving me.
The only thing bad about the PSN Plus, the games aren't going to be put onto your PS4. Your PSN games are going to be on your PS3, so you're going to have to keep your PS3.
The other thing to note that's probably mildly important if you're an Xbox person, unlike Xbox, you can use Netflix and whatever else you have without your PS Plus account.
Yeah, you don't have to have
Netflix or
PlayStation.
YouTube
You don't have
or
to.
your internet
Yeah, you don't
browser.
have to use PlayStation. You don't have to pay for PlayStation Plus to access stuff like that. And they said certain free-to-play games will be able to be played without paying for PlayStation Plus. But I imagine the heavy hitters will. Should they get a League of Legends, that would be behind it.
Yeah.
I imagine maybe like Warframe won't. But I imagine.
Well, they've already stated that Warframe and PlanetSide are not going to be behind the PS.
Oh, nice. Well, that's nice then. That's.
Well,
that's
they've
good.
also, Sony's come out and said that they're not going to allow companies to use online passes. I want to know what Sony's going with their DRM free system. Are they basically going to try to strong arm everybody out of that? Because Xbox obviously has their DRM built in. And Sony is not, and I hope Sony sticks to their guns, and I hope Microsoft sticks to their guns, and this is a real console war, because the last one wasn't in this country.
Yeah. To keep going with the Vita, they did not show really anything for the Vita on stage. They did some quick logos splashed up on the screen. That's about it. Here's the interesting thing, though. there were a ton of Vita games at E3. They just weren't shown at the conference. You had to go to the Sony booth on the floor to see them. There was like 50 different Vita games there.
Surprisingly, there was a couple of things absent from the big PS conference. One of them being Tearaway, which is an incredibly cute game.
They just showed a logo, and Trenton said the word and mispronounced it at that.
Yeah, and I have a friend of mine who is a PlayStation rep and was at the event, and he has pictures of Miyamoto and Reggie Fils-Aimé standing there looking over the shoulder of the guy playing Tearaway. That's cool. That's cool. Tearaway is a really cool game, along with The Puppeteer, which is Media Molecule's follow-up to Little Big Planet.
Yeah. Luftrausers will be a nice downloadable game. There's a few others. Hotline Miami is coming out on the Vita if you haven't already played Hotline Miami. And Hotline Miami 2 was announced very quietly at E3, and that should be out on the Vita as well. I think they said their goal is to have it on the Vita the same day it releases on PC. This is my problem with the Vita, though. If they're going to start having all these games, the memory card prices for the Vita are insane.
Yep.
$100 for 32 gigs. That's, when you look at it in the terms of PC, I can get a couple terabytes for that much. As far as a hard drive. If you're going to have all these games on the Vita, you either need to lower your price or come out with a different version of something.
Somebody really needs to redesign the Vita with either a flash memory built into it, so you don't have to buy that memory card, or just drop the prices.
Yeah, they're worried about piracy with SD cards because the Nintendo DS is incredibly easy to crack. However, the 3DS, I don't believe, is still cracked. And how long has that been out?
Year and a half.
Quite some time.
2 years.
Really, the thing about it is, they can make up whatever lie they want. They want to sell their proprietary cards.
Yep.
On my computer, I have a card reader. I can plug the same SD card in. I can plug Sony's stick in. I can do whatever. I can plug stuff in that's been outdated and abandoned for years. It's silly that they're going to continue pushing a format that shouldn't really be dead, just because they can make a lot of extra dollars pushing that.
Yeah, even with the PSP, there were third-party cards.
Yeah,
I bought bootleg ones from Hong Kong that were 32 gigs and it cost me $20.
Yeah.
And there are no third-party Vita memory cards.
There should be. If they came out with a third-party one or allowed people to make third-party ones, they'd be half the price.
Yeah.
And that would make a big difference for the Vita owners. I have a 32 gig card, and granted with PSN Plus and all the games I buy, it's mostly full.
I have a 16 gig card, and I think I got enough room for maybe one more game on it, if that. I don't even know if I'd be able to get another
16
one
gig
on.
card will fill you for the PS Plus games they give you.
I had to delete a lot of stuff on my Vita
just to get BlazBlue, because BlazBlue is almost 4 gigs.
Yeah, BlazBlue is really big.
Giant.
I had to start switching. To actually getting the physical copies. I bought Persona as a physical copy instead of a download, and I bought Soul Sacrifice as a physical copy instead of a download, and that alleviates some of it. But it doesn't do enough. I'm hurting for space. I was hurting for space with my PS3 until I upgraded to a 500 gig. And I don't even download that much stuff on the PS3, but Gran Turismo is a 20 gig game. It adds up. The last two things we're going to talk about with PlayStation 4, lack of exclusives. They showed a lot of games, but a lot of those games are multi-platform. The Order is exclusive, Nax exclusive, Killzone, of course, is exclusive, but, Watch Dogs isn't, Assassin's Creed isn't, Batman isn't. There were a lot that weren't. And the other thing, real quick, was they did not talk about that touchpad on that controller at all. Not a single game showed that touchpad at E3.
They're not really going to use the touchpad much. I don't really know what it's going to be used for. But the exclusive thing is there's also a game we didn't talk about, which is Infamous Second Son. Infamous is amazing. I'm sorry. People who don't like it, you really need to get into that game and get through the first 3 hours of it. I get why people might not like it, but it's really innovative. It's cool. You're a superhero with lightning powers. You can grind rails. You can float. You can in the second game you can make tornadoes and you get ice powers and.
Does Bill Paxton show up with a pickup truck full of Pepsi cans?
That'd be awesome.
I know.
Now,
But in Second Son, in all honesty, when they showed it at the PS4 reveal, I was disappointed. I really was. I wanted Cole, I wanted some other stuff, but this game was really dark.
Well, it's not Infamous 3.
And I thought, and honestly, when I was watching this, I thought it was Watch Dogs, because the guy grabs the camera and he's like, you think you can control everything, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was that. And then they showed this one, and then, he's riding around in the car with his father, who's like a politician or something, and they're in Seattle, and then they show some gameplay in Seattle where he like shoots up into the air next to the Space Needle, and it's clean, and it's clear, and it's beautiful. And it's not necessarily a system seller, because it's not. I don't know. I don't know why it's not a system seller, because I think it is. But that's a game to look forward to for me.
For the touchpad, I don't know if you guys seen the video gameplay on Division. Basically, when he dropped a bomb on the ground that could roll, and the way that it moved pretty much looked like he was controlling it on the touchpad. I don't know if you guys seen any of the gameplay, but one guy was hiding behind a truck.
That. It was amazing.
And he put this little round ball on the ground that was a bomb, and it literally just rolled up, did a turn, and just smashed right into the guy and just exploded. Yep. I mean, that could possibly be the touchpad controls.
The one thing I hope with the touchpad is that it's not going to be area specific, because if you could just move your thumbs up and use the edge of that touchpad to do things instead of actually having to
put it in
lose your grip and reposition your hands, because if you have to move back and forth real quick, that's going to get real tricky after a while, and it's just going to become kind of a pain. It's odd. I have a Vita, and we talked about the Vita, but honestly, I don't have any games on that system that really use that touchpad. Soul Sacrifice does in a really limited way. Uncharted has a thing where you're like dusting photos. It's just really gimmicky. There hasn't been one that like truly uses it in a real way that I've played, at least.
There's only
Men's Room Mayhem, my friend.
Yeah, Men's Room Mayhem.
Yeah. Go download the video from the PlayStation Store and just watch the video. It's entertaining.
It's the best video ever.
Yeah, it's $1 game. It's $1 game, and it's worth the $1 just to have some fun with it.
Fights in bathrooms.
Yep. Men fights.
Yep.
With lions.
Men fights.
The only type of
normally
real
happen
fight.
in bathrooms, right?
No.
Okay.
You can't touch each other or you beat each other up.
I've seen some weird stuff in bathrooms.
Yeah.
That's gonna wrap it up for our PlayStation 4 PlayStation 4 talk for tonight. Stay tuned, guys. Alright guys, we're back for the tail end of this podcast. We appreciate you sticking with us for this far. It's not going to be this long all the time. It's just this long because of E3. There's a lot to cover, and we're going to finish off with Nintendo. And Nintendo did something interesting this year. They did not go to E3 in the traditional sense. They had a booth there. Miyamoto was there. Reggie was there. The whole crew was there. However, they opted to do a Nintendo Direct instead of E3. Now, I love Nintendo Direct. I think it's a wonderful concept. Essentially what it is a 30 to 45-minute video, and they just tell you about games. It's very well done because they have the opportunity to change things once they're done. They can edit things. They can do multiple takes of different things. And I think it's a smart move. I watched Nintendo Direct live. I missed the first 10 minutes because, number one, I forgot what time it was on. And number two, the U.S. stream was down online. We ended up having to find a European stream. So we're not going to talk about when games come out because those were European dates that I saw. I have no idea if they're the same. First thing we're going to talk about is Pokemon X and Y. I grew up a huge Pokemon fan. I'm one of the younger people here. I was, a kid when it was real hot. I remember kids getting stabbed at school to get Charizard cards. The elementary school I went to no longer has recess because of that incident. And just a couple years ago, they tore down all the playground equipment. They don't give a fuck. They don't care.
The school I went to, if you had Pokemon cards on you, you'd get suspended.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I remember in high school, they told us we couldn't wear plain white t-shirts because they thought we were a gang. And Pete, I don't know if you remember that or not. Pete and I went to the same high school. I don't know if you remember that. You might have graduated by that point. But
I may have.
Yeah, that was good. That was fun.
If it was bullshit, it was at our high school.
Yeah. But Pokemon X and Y looks interesting. They're doing something different with it.
That's why I want it.
Yeah, my Pokemon experience has ended with Soul Silver. That's the last one I played.
Well, it's the same thing over and over with names that don't even sound right.
I find it very tough to get into a Pokemon game because I don't have any connection to the new characters. I remember Pikachu and Snorlax and Mew and Bulbasaur and all that. I watched the cartoon. Like, that's the stuff I remember.
The new characters now are like cherries and trees and...
Yeah, I mean, they added a new, I guess it would be class or type or whatever they call it, fairy. Right? Yep. And they're like retroactively putting Jigglypuff as part of this now or something like that. I assume Clefairy would be a fairy character, I guess?
Sorry, Clefairy is a stone type.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Just Brock has it,
X&Y actually excites me because I'm old enough where I played the original ones when I was just leaving high school. So I played Red, and that's the game I beat. I played it through, I beat it, it was amazing. I remember watching seasons like 1 through 3 on TV, and I recorded on a VHS. And, I mean, even back then, I used to record them, and I worked at a juvenile home, and I took them, and these kids loved them, man. And I look forward to X&Y, and it's really one of the reasons I bought a 3DS.
Yeah, I'm, always out of the element with the 3,000 different new Pokemon. But I remember playing through in elementary school and junior high, bringing that in and having link cables and battling your friends, and then getting a Game Genie and cheating and hoping your friends didn't notice that you had a full team of level 99 Mewtwo's.
See, I lived in the middle of nowhere, so there's no such thing as link cables that long.
Yeah. Regardless,
this is the sad thing. I wish I could find my cart of Pokemon Yellow, because I caught every Pokemon, and every Pokemon is level 99.
You should probably find your... DS games is probably right next to it.
Yeah. Pokemon Yellow is the one that I played. I didn't have a Game Boy growing up. I had a Game Gear, so I never got a Game Boy until Pokemon Yellow came out. I actually bought the bundle that came with the special system, and I fell in love with it. Everybody was playing Blue and Red already. I was behind everybody else, but I actually fell in love with Yellow, and I am an adult now, technically, I guess, and I still love Pokemon.
Pokemon Yellow was awesome. You get Pikachu behind you no matter what.
Yeah, like that's. I mean, I wanted Snorlax. Because I love Snorlax.
Who can't love that?
Like, I want a Snorlax simulator, and that's what I was hoping out of Nintendo Direct, and I didn't get it. And I'm just now I don't care about Nintendo anymore.
To go back to answer Chris's question, who couldn't love that? Team Rocket.
I fucking love Team Rocket. I mean, I want to go back and find those Team Rocket ones that were actually banned in the United States, where Jesse cross-dresses and wins the bikini contest.
I remember that one, yeah, and he's like, touch them, and they like inflate.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Never released in the United States.
You guys are weird.
See those.
I have problems.
This whole conversation is uncomfortable now.
And speaking of Team Rocket, Super Mario 3D World. This is a game that I figured was coming, but I figured it would be coming to the 3DS. And I guess it probably makes sense that it's not, because they've already had 2 3DS Mario games, and they really don't need another one. Mario 3D Land was wonderful on the 3DS. I bought my 3DS after the price drop. It was the weekend that Mario Kart 7 came out, and I bought 3D Land and Mario Kart 7 at the same time and played both of them to death for, about a month. Yeah, it was about a month.
You beat Mario Kart 7 in a weekend.
Yeah, Mario Kart 7 went by real quick.
That came back, and I was like, "You're done with it?" And he's like, "Yeah." So Steve played like 24 hours in 3 days.
Yeah, I like them.
Which Mario Kart is my favorite Mario game.
Yeah, Mario RPG. The problem with this is I don't have a Wii U. I'm actually the only one here that doesn't have a Wii U. So now
that's tough to say when there's 4 people in a room that one person doesn't own a Wii U.
And there's actually 5 people in this room. they just brought this thing to a halt. They're looking around like they're looking around. It's very late. The Wii U, I don't have one, so unfortunately I'm going to be the Pete during this part of the podcast, because these are games I can't play. I'm not going to buy a Wii U.
Oh boy, I'm a verb.
Yeah.
We'll get through these and we'll hit the Wii U again.
The Super Mario 3D World, it looks interesting. It's obviously
cat.
Yes, 10,000 cats. Everybody's a cat. No dog suit announced, but I'm not angry about that.
That's DLC.
Yeah, DLC.
It's Super Dog 3D Land. They're gonna cross out Mario and write dog.
Yeah,
it's actually
the dog.
Nintendogs in the game.
I have to kill myself.
You pet it, and the dog is wearing a cat suit,
and then it wags and flies away.
Yeah.
Basically, it looks interesting. It's going to be taking some things from Mario 3D Land, magical, whatever words they're using. You're going to have some periods where the camera looks like it's going to be fixed, and it'll be more of like a 2D side-scrolling, which obviously, brings it back to the Mario 3 days everybody loves. But you got the 3D areas, too. And being able to play as 4 separate characters or 4-player co-op when you're all sharing lives seems like it's going to be a blast. You're going to have that one guy that you're no longer friends with because he can't keep out of the goddamn
Yeah, it'll be
holes.
another multiplayer game that you guys don't let me play with you.
Well, you don't own a Wii U, so
Shut up.
See, that's not our fault.
My biggest problem with the Mario 3D World is Pete kind of touched on it. Is the locked hammer angle. And I get what they're doing it because that's the style of game it is. I want the sequel to Mario 64.
Oh, such a good game. But
It's called Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Mario Galaxy was a pain in the ass because when you went around the world, you had to switch your control scheme, and I didn't like wiggling my remote to shoot to the next world, and it was cool, but did I really want to be a bee? Like, why can't I just play a Mario game and jump on Goomba's faces through the entire thing? I'm 35. I don't want to be cute anymore. I'm not saying I want Killer Mario, but
I'm 47 and I want to be cute all the time.
I don't really need cute 100% of the time, and that's what Mario has turned into, is just cute.
Careful what you wish for, man. It's going to turn into a first-person shooter.
There's some dark stuff in Mario. Mario 3 takes place in hell. The end world where you're in the fire. Mario Kart 8 takes place in hell.
Bring on Mario Kart 8.
The Rainbow Road to Death. It's Ronnie James Dio rises from the grave. Rainbow is back. Holy diver right into a pit of fire.
He rides a tiger right out of hell.
Because his stripes are clean.
That's right. Mario Kart, I've already said it once, Mario Kart is my favorite Mario game, and Mario Kart 8 looks great.
I ignored it because I don't have a Wii U.
I really, Mario Kart 8 does the basic, this is, +1 Mario Kart. Let's add something a little bit different, but it's Mario Kart. It's always Mario Kart.
Yeah, is there any type of, because I really ignored it because I'm not going to play it. Is there any type of gimmick whatsoever to it?
You can actually drive upside down.
That's the thing, is like, I'm hoping there's more with it, because with like the 3DS, you can fly and go underwater, and then there was no attacks or anything. Yeah. It was very easy, and there was pretty much no competition in it. Yeah.
That's why Steve
you're in first.
Yeah, Mario Kart 7 was really easy. The last great kart racer I played was the Sonic and All-Stars Racing. The first one, I didn't get to play the second one. I know the second one's really good, but I played the first one quite a bit.
Jack X.
What? Jack X, yeah. Sonic was good. Mario Kart, I'm sure it'll be fine. Mario Kart's always good. There's only a handful of them I actually played. I never owned it for the N64. I never owned Super Mario 64 either. But I played a ton of the original Super Mario Kart.
Podcast over.
Yeah, I played a ton of the original Super Mario Kart, and I played a ton of Double Dash.
See, I never really played Double Dash, but Mario Kart 64 is probably in my top 5 games of all time.
it was that time where, I had 2 video game systems as a kid. I had the N64 and the PS1, and I just ended up buying more PS1 games, which is strange because I really don't like the system.
You're wrong.
I'm wrong that I don't like the system. Yeah, no, that's good.
That could be.
The next thing is something we already knew about. It wasn't the big reveal everybody was hoping for. They're doing Wind Waker HD. We already knew about this. They talked about it in the previous Nintendo Direct. I'm sure I'll be fine. Here's the opportunity for more people to not like me. I don't like Zelda. I've never played a Zelda game. Don't give a shit about Zelda. It's never done anything to appeal to me, and this game doesn't change that because it's a game that already came out that I didn't play to begin with.
Wind Waker is really underrated, and the Wind Waker HD is going to be great. I'll buy it because I bought a Wii U. I want the new Zelda game first.
I mean,
exactly.
I'm kind of siding with Chris. I mean, I will get Wind Waker, but that's pretty much just to fill the gap of the new Zelda game.
I mean, the problems with Wind Waker was I got lost at sea, and literally if I ever found my GameCube save that I have, I'm in the middle of the ocean just, I don't know where the fuck I'm going. In this one, hopefully they fix it with the pad and with some other things, and it's going to be gorgeous, and I'm going to play it. It doesn't matter. I'm going to play it. But give me the new Zelda. You didn't even show it. you should have at least showed it.
They're working on it. I know they said that,
there's like 500.
Yeah, there was like a ton of people working on that game.
What they showed so far of it was just a quote unquote tech demo, which was
it was like a really high res screenshot or something that came out like last year. I'm pretty sure that's just an artist's concept because that screenshot looks like something from Twilight Princess to me. I don't know what they're doing with it. They'll come out. It'll be holiday next year. It'll be their Christmas game for next year.
They could have taken Twilight Princess and put it with a real control scheme, and put it in the Wii U and sold it again. Really, because I'll never play that game. I'm sorry, I'll never play it. I hate the Wii, the waggle motions and this and that.
You can buy the GameCube version.
For
Skyward Sword is not.
You just said Twilight Princess.
I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad. Both of them. Okay, fine. Here's your next game, Nintendo. After you do the new Zelda game, make Story. Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword on one disc and give me your real controls.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bayonetta 2.
No one cares.
Hey, I never played it because it was busted on PS3, and then I didn't have a 360 by the time it came out. I love Platinum Games. I love everything they've ever done. I'm sure I would really like Bayonetta, but I never got a chance to play it because it was quite broken on PS3, and I don't have a Wii U, so I'm not going to play this. I can't imagine this will stay exclusive forever. This will come out on other systems eventually, and I'll play it then.
I don't understand why anyone is disagreeing with the more that a girl fights, the more naked she gets.
Well, her hair is the weapon.
But she has no
much.
hair in this. Because she cut her hair.
She had a bipolar moment and shaved it.
Her hair's short in the new one. They changed her haircut.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game that's... I just can't imagine it's going to stay exclusive. I'm really surprised they talked about it because maybe it will be exclusive at least at launch. You know, they put a lot of stock into Rayman Legends, and now that's not exclusive.
Well, I thought they'd lost the exclusivity a long time ago, but
to Bayonetta? Not.
Yeah.
Wait. No, it's still exclusive.
Okay.
Nobody else is... At least nobody has said anything otherwise.
Now, when you say that she cut her hair, what are we talking about?
It's short. Her hair is short. Yeah.
Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze... I wish I had a Wii U. I love Donkey Kong. I am very good at few video games. I can go through Donkey Kong Country without getting hit. I love Donkey Kong Country. I just finished beating it this year, and to get really elitist for 1 second, I finally beat the Super Famicom version. There's no differences. It's just I couldn't read the end credits. I love Donkey Kong. It's a series I absolutely love. I finally got around to playing the Wii one, and I thought it was really good. It was brutal. Those games are brutal. You know, it's been a long time since I played Country 2 and 3, but if I had a Wii U, I would buy this day one. It looks really nice.
Don't really have much for DK Country, just not my thing. I want a sequel to DK 64. It's never going to happen.
It was called Mario Galaxy.
Yeah. Well, it's always Mario Galaxy with you. No, really, I wish I could say that the
I'm sorry, no, it was called Banjo and Kazooie Nuts and Boats.
That's Wind Waker.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Shut up.
Yeah, you don't have to work tomorrow. I'm the only one that's screwed here.
Yeah. Donkey Kong looks great. It always looks great. It looks really nice.
It doesn't look very different.
It looks good.
I think Retro should be working on Metroid.
I think Steve likes monkeys.
This is the thing, though. You know, people have been talking about new Metroid, new cat. You know, they want a new Metroid style game. You know, a 2D Metroid style game, and a 2D Castlevania game. Arkham Origins Blackgate is coming out on 3DS and Vita, and that should hopefully satisfy some people's need for that. The problem is that it's still Batman and not Castlevania and Batman not Metroid. They want another Metroid game. Just to touch on our Origins Blackgate real quick, it's not a game that I don't think any of us are really going to play. It's, to me, the way that it looks, so I made a note here, and everybody was kind of curious what I meant by this note, and I wrote down large characters like Dragon's Crown. Dragon's Crown is a Vita beat-em-up coming out later this year. We are all super excited for it. The problem is the character models, the sprites, are gigantic. If you are on a little screen and your character is taking up the entire screen, it's a bit annoying. I love beat-em-ups.
Boobs.
Yeah. I love beat-em-ups. I've played beat-em-ups since Final Fight. Fight, since Final Fight back in the day, I truly love them. I'm gonna play Dragon's Crown, but I just don't like the look of it. I don't like these huge characters that take up so much of the screen. You get lost in the action. The last kind of strange beat 'em up I played was Code of Princess on the 3DS. I took that game home, played it for an hour, fucking hated it, and brought it right back because that game was terrible, and I really hope that I'm not going to get another experience like that. I don't think I will. It's not made by the same company. It's kind of strange to compare them, but it's just, there hasn't been a good beat 'em up in a while. It's kind of the point I'm making here.
I think Atlas will be able to pull it off.
Yeah, slapping someone with your giant cleaver.
Because Atlas made Code of Princess and they didn't pull it off.
Well, that game was terrible. You're right, because I tried to play it and it was so laggy I couldn't even hit anybody. But Dragon's Crown looked great. I can't agree with Steve on the big sprites. I like the big guys.
Well, that's fine, but it's a small screen.
With the small screen, you're gonna lose some stuff because you're gonna be overlapping. But the more they show this game, the more I want to play it on both console. I'll get it on my PS3 and it'll be cross-buy for Vita.
A few more Wii U games to get into. We're going to save the big two for last. This next one actually isn't a Wii U game. This is a 3DS game. It's New Yoshi's Island. Yoshi's Island is one of my favorite games of all time. Super Nintendo game. It's to be honest with you, I think it's one of the greatest games of all time, period. That game is perfect in its execution and gameplay.
That's the one with the babies, right?
It's the one with Baby Mario, yeah. That can get annoying, but it's part of the charm of that game, I think. It just...
As long as all the Yoshis are together singing again...
That's Yoshi's story.
Yoshi's story. I always have this thing where people ask me about Yoshi's story and like, what do you think of it? The opening song in that is drilled into my head as like the worst sound ever. Just the Yoshis trying to and I just want to kill myself when I hear it.
The Yoshi's Island, I hope it's good. It's the one game on this list that I can actually play because it's coming out on the 3DS and I have a 3DS.
You can play that.
Yeah, the next game we talk to I could play if I like Zelda. Yoshi's Island, though, from what I've seen a couple of screenshots and I've seen some gameplay. It just doesn't look that great. It just, something about it just doesn't seem right. I think that I need to see a lot more of that game, and I think that's going to be one of those games where I need to play it before I can make a decision on it. Most games these days, you can tell if they're going to be good, if they're sequels, because it's usually going to be pretty similar to the original, but this one I think I need to play first. Zelda Link Between Worlds. This should be a big deal. I don't understand why this isn't a bigger deal than it is. This is the sequel. This is the sequel to one of the most beloved games of all time, a game I never played.
My biggest problem with this game is it's on the wrong thing. It should be on the Wii U.
Well, they're not making any.
You have Wind Waker.
Yeah, because I don't want it.
You just said you're going to play it.
I will, but I don't want it. I want the new one. And I want this game to be on my Wii U as well, so I can play it on my pad while I'm laying in bed.
But this game has 3D stuff.
3D, which I never turn on.
Yeah, so you can get dizzy and
my eyes bleed.
Yeah. Really,
seizure.
This brings up the topic that the Wii U really needs to take advantage of someday soon. They need to make the Super Game Boy for the Wii U. They need to link up the 3DS to the Wii U. The pad will have the bottom screen, the touch screen, and the top screen will go right on your TV.
That'd be a good idea.
The problem with that is, with the 3DS in your hands, you could see both screens at the same time for the most part, and switch between really easily. You're switching between a screen that's very far away and a pad that's in your hand. It all depends on how you hold that controller. You're going to be looking down and taking your complete focus off one screen to the other. With the 3DS, you could just glance back and forth real quick because they're millimeters away from each other. It's just something I don't really like.
Yeah. I'd still buy it.
Yeah, no, that game is gonna sell like gangbusters, no doubt about it.
Oh, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
And hopefully, Nintendo, this is an idea. Make sure you make a special 3DS XL for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they did it with the Ocarina of Time.
Pimp that bitch out. I want a gold 3DS XL.
Gold 3, yeah. I imagine it would be red.
Gold.
Oh, yeah?
Gold.
Bright purple?
Gold or green?
Pink
Red.
To match Link's hair.
Purple.
I ruined the whole game
purple
for
Majora's
you now,
Mask one that you thought was real.
Aw, dude, I was so excited.
I was so pissed when it wasn't real.
Wonderful 101. This is a game I keep hearing about as people really
looks so good.
Yeah, like everybody really
Russell knows more about this.
Yeah, I'm going to defer to you. Yeah, I'm going to defer to you on this one. It's one that everybody keeps talking about, but because I don't have the system, I haven't paid attention to it.
It's a short game. They're saying that it's literally under 2 hours. That it's like a time attack.
So it's Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah, that's 4.
I beat Metal Gear Rising in 3.5 hours.
Huh?
But I mean, Wonderful 101, it looks amazing, but they really haven't showed anything. They haven't really said if it's going to be a download game or if it's going to be
a $60 2-hour game is going to be rough.
Yeah.
You know, if they bring it at the right price point.
Well, if it's all time attack, that's pretty dangerous for a video game.
It's kind of neat. Basically, what you do is you have these 100 guys, and I don't know if you have to collect them or not, and you draw something on the pad, and then they make it.
Yeah, they basically like turn into
I was told that it's similar to Pikmin.
Yes, in the idea that you tell these guys what to do. It looks good. It's by your company.
Atlas is making it?
It's by Platinum.
Oh, Platinum. Oh, that's right.
So.
Yeah, Platinum.
If Atlas was making it, I already have it paid off.
Yeah, okay.
You know, Platinum's making it, so it looks good. Yeah. Definitely check it
out. X. This is the surprise of Nintendo's show. This is a game that I don't think anybody had heard of.
This game definitely got me willing to be ready to buy it. Xenogears, if anybody's ever played it, is amazing. It's an 80-hour RPG that kind of has a lot of lore in religion and touches on a lot of things for the PS1. Amazing game, really cool concept. It's a button masher fighting RPG kind of. It's kind of hard to describe. Look it up. And then Xenosaga was, I believe, an offshoot from it. Mm-hmm. And then somehow it got from Xenosaga to these guys. It looks good. I can't wait.
To me, it looks like Phantasy Star Online. You know, that's what I pull from it, which is fine. I'm not saying that in a negative way. Phantasy Star Online is fantastic, but that's kind of what it looks like to me. It just that's the feel I get from it. And if it plays like that, it's great.
I mean, you see mechs, and then you see tanks, and then you see jets. Can you go wrong?
Too much machinery.
Making modern music.
It's always awful.
Yeah, it was Rush song.
Rush all the time.
All Rush all the time.
That's right. Don't push the button.
Yeah. The last thing we're going to talk about with Nintendo is Smash Brothers. It was the last thing they showed. We knew it was coming. It wasn't like it was a surprise. They said before they were working on Smash Brothers for the 3DS and the Wii U. I think the biggest problem they're doing with this is they're putting it on the 3DS. We talked about this before. If you want to sell a system, you have to make sure your games are on that system and only that system.
But didn't they announce it for both consoles?
Yeah. I mean, it's on 3DS and Wii U.
Okay.
Weren't they going to do originally, like, older characters were going to be on the 3DS and newer characters are on the Wii U, or did they totally change?
I have no idea about that, yeah. All I knew is that they were doing it on both systems.
It had cross-platform play.
But it's not going to.
No, it won't.
All I know is I'm going to play as the fitness instructor.
Yeah, I want to play as the Wii Fit lady.
Yeah. The little video they showed with Mario, Donkey Kong, and Kirby doing, like, the tree yoga pose sign, and when she does kind of like tink 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 and taps on her shoulder and then kicks their asses. I was like, I'm not a Smash Brothers guy, but that was great.
Once again, this would improve greatly if you could see Chris's poses with this.
Well, how awesome would it be if you could say you actually punched Mario in the face?
I know.
Yeah. You know, she's probably one of the few.
Yeah, and the thing nobody's mentioned yet, Mega Man. Mega Man.
And I think it's kind of a neat thing to do because a lot of people are up in arms that he wasn't in Marvel. In the Marvel vs. Capcom 3, they had Zero in instead.
Yep.
And I think this kind of is the little bit of, you get your fighting game with Mega Man in it.
This was Mega Man. For some reason, Capcom has forsaken Mega Man. There's hasn't been any really fresh Mega Man ideas. New games like
in 20 years.
Yeah. The
9 and 10 were good.
Getting canceled and whatnot.
Yeah,
Mega Man needs to come back, and I hope this will be the start to Mega Man coming back.
Yeah, I assume that I think that maybe this is a litmus test to see if people still want a Mega Man game. I think people really love Mega Man, but if they put out Mega Man 11, I don't think it's going to really sell. I think they need to... And at the same time as the only other kind of style of game he was ever in was Legends.
Mega Man Legends 3.
Yeah, the problem with that is like
Didn't you hear it years ago?
Yeah, it got canceled. The problem is like you hear so much about Mega Man Legends 3, but that is a vocal minority. That is not the masses wanting to buy that game. That game will not sell that well, and it just won't do well for Capcom in the long run. I think Mega Man is a character that it can't. I think he's done. Like I think he's relegated to guest stars in other games.
I mean, how many total Mega Man games are there?
At least 10.
A hell of a lot more than that.
Unfortunately,
it's ridiculous the number of Mega Man games are.
Unfortunately, they brought a lot of characters to Super Smash, and they really haven't made a big comeback. So
Ness.
I don't really know. Yeah, Ness
Ness
really
won the
didn't do.
tournament, didn't he?
Oh, dude, he did. He dominated in the Smash Bros. Tournament. But
Yeah,
that's only because they're cheap. With
Because
them.
people have no idea what we're talking about. At our store, we had a Smash Brothers tournament recently, and the guy that won used Ness, and
He was cheaply smashing people off the corners.
It was interesting. The biggest thing about that game is Smash Brothers is not a game I ever played, and we played the N64 version, so it's the oldest of all of them. That fan base is rabid. Those people love that game, and there were people that were in their 30s there, and there were 16-year-old girls in that tournament. And it's just, that's a game that people obviously really love and really care about. And I have to imagine that this is going to be a big game for Nintendo. I just wish that they were smart enough to put it only on the Wii U to actually sell some Wii U's.
That's true. Very true.
That wraps up for Nintendo. We got just a couple of topics left. Tablets. Every game seemed to have some type of tablet interface where now you have to take your eyes off the television screen and move them to your tablet. And it's going to be one of those things where if you don't have the right tablet, you're going to lose this whole functionality aspect of this game. I have a tablet. I have a Kindle Fire. Kindle Fire actually isn't compatible with a lot of stuff. You know, it has the app, the Droid App Store, which is fine. There's some games on it. I don't game.
But not everything's optimized for Fire.
Yeah, I don't game on my tablet. But one of the things that I found really interesting is there's a website called Crunchyroll, which is essentially the Netflix for anime. And there's a Crunchyroll app. I have the Crunchyroll app on my Roku box. You can get it on PlayStation 3. They make one for Amazon. It works on the Kindle Fire, but it doesn't work on the Kindle Fire HD. And that's really strange. I actually had to crack my Kindle to install Flash so I can just go to the Crunchyroll website and stream videos like that. And it just seems really strange. So unless you have an iPad or unless you have, a Surface, which is the Microsoft's tablet, you might be out of luck. And with so many games doing so much tablet stuff, you're losing a big chunk of those games if you don't have it.
Steve brought this up the other day, and he was saying he couldn't play Watch Dogs right because he doesn't have a tablet, but he does own a Vita, which I'm sure the Vita will be compatible with anything that
you
uses...
hope so. Here's the problem, though. They're saying that all those PS4 games have to stream to the Vita. What are you gonna do with Watch Dogs when you need to have a tablet?
At the same time? Yeah, or another Vita.
Well, the tablet gameplay just seemed kind of weird to me. I mean, can anyone drop in at any time, or is that just friends or?
Yeah, I don't really know about with Watch Dogs or anything, because the only thing they really showed in Watch Dogs this year was when they're driving underground and the guy grabs the tablet and brings up the side things and stops the cops from coming in underneath ground. That was the only thing they showed with Watch Dogs really this year with the tablet that I saw.
But I mean, the Division looks like it's going to have tablet stuff.
Yeah,
they showed Xbox One stuff, like Rise has tablet stuff.
I think with an MMO like the Division, it could be really useful, because in a game like that, you're going to have times where you're doing nothing. And you could mess with the tablet and do more stuff on it rather than looking at the screen, I guess. I mean, it's just it's more of a convenience.
The issue with that is if the Division's going to be on PC, instead of having a tablet thing, just let people use their second monitors.
True.
Most people that are serious about PC gaming have more than one monitor. I recently just finally got a second monitor, and it's a big help. And actually, I can't really say that because I was using my television as a monitor for a while, so technically I did have two monitors. But that would be a big help. Another thing, next on our list, announcing DLC for a game before the game is out and before the system that game is coming out on is out. They've already announced Battlefield 4 DLC. That game's not out. The Xbox One and PlayStation 4 aren't out.
That was
That's absolutely ridiculous.
It was a big bullet point for Microsoft because they have the exclusive 1 month thing with Call of Duty, and now they've snagged Battlefield for the first DLC at least.
The problem with that is that's fine to announce that, because they announced it with Call of Duty beforehand, but they never had names and logos and things for that DLC.
Didn't tell you what
Battlefield
the DLC
4
was
already has a whole big thing about it.
Well, with stuff like that, it makes me feel like I'm not even buying the full game when it comes out.
Yeah,
I'm buying 50% of it.
People were up in arms over Mass Effect 3 because if you bought the collector's edition, you got the Jarek stuff, and he was key to that game. Mm-hmm. You miss out on a lot of stuff if you don't have him. Because his race, the race of that character was the race that's kind of extinct. So you learn that game's been out for enough, and that game was terrible. He provides so much story and exposition to that game that he was essential. He needed to be a part of that game, whether or not you bought the collector's edition or not. Wolfenstein has been announced for next gen. This is a small thing, but just something close to my heart. I grew up playing Wolfenstein. I'm really happy that this is next gen. I don't have to worry about if I decide to buy a next gen system on day one, I can play this game because I'm going to play this game regardless. And I guess it would probably be nice to play it on a next gen system. However, maybe this is all just a moot point. If it comes out on PC, I'll buy it on PC. The Kinect was not talked about at E3, and that sounds so weird and so strange. The PlayStation Eye and the PlayStation Move was not shown or talked about at E3.
I think Microsoft strategically did not talk about it.
Of course they did.
Because they don't want to be lumped in again with, oh my god, all they're going to do is talk about Kinect. And all they're going to do is talk about TV. So I think they specifically went away from it at all points and did not mention it for that specific reason.
That's another problem, is a big turnoff for the system is a lot of people really didn't go for the Kinect. I mean, if you like dancing games, or if you're a younger child, or a younger kid, you want to get up and move around. If you're a true video gamer, not really many people want to jump around, clap their hands, spin in a circle. I don't think they wanted to turn the whole crowd away with showing stuff for the Kinect.
Their system reveal just a few weeks ago was so much about the Kinect and television that if they had talked about that during E3, man, they would have just gotten torn to shreds. I mean, they got torn to shreds regardless.
When they first announced
it's just more fuel on the fire if they keep talking about it. Because Sony got away with talking about television, and nobody cared because they showed so many games, and they were upfront honest about things that people were actually concerned about.
They showed a video game system. They didn't show a
They
didn't show a VCR.
Yeah, I mean the Xbox One.
They showed the eraser.
Yeah, the Xbox One is a video game system. It's just a video game system that video games are not at the top of that priority list.
They want your living room.
Yeah, they want your living room, and my living room has already been purchased by other devices. I don't need...
Namely your cable box.
Yeah, well, I mean, as somebody that doesn't really watch cable television, I watch Mad Men on cable television, and if I didn't have cable, I'm pretty sure you can watch those episodes on AMC's website, so I don't think it would really matter. I've pretty much switched over to, Netflix exclusively for movies, and as far as television shows go, there's not that much out there that I'm really concerned about, so Microsoft putting so much stock into cable television doesn't affect me, and it doesn't affect a lot of people, because over the past couple of years, so many people have dropped cable.
I own a DVR.
Yeah.
Microsoft came out and showed some cool stuff at E3. They really did. Titanfall is going to be a system seller to some people, not me. If I really want to play it, I'll buy another Xbox 360 and play it.
Well, like we said earlier, most of their exclusives that they show, me and Steve can just buy on the PC.
No.
Yeah. That's really not a selling point for the Xbox One because everyone owns a PC. Yeah. Except for you.
Except for me.
Except for you, yeah. Except for you.
That's a big difference. I've always had consoles. I've never really owned a PC, so... I don't really see myself ever really owning a PC. So, I mean, my hope is that they just keep going. The consoles keep going. Sony's always been there. Microsoft did the last couple console generations. Sony is, that's where I feel at home. Everybody has their own thing. And I feel at home with a DualShock in my hand and good stuff on the screen.
The only other thing I want to mention on the topic of the Xbone is... there's rumors now going around that and it makes sense, if you get banned from your console, you lose all your games.
Those aren't rumors, that was confirmed.
Yeah,
they try to retract that recently.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes sense. If you're banned, you're not going to be checking in once every 24 hours.
That also puts it's more of a... It's not like a slap on the wrist. I mean, if you got banned from the 360 or PlayStation 3, I mean, you lost progress, but you didn't lose content that you bought.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're saying that, if you do something bad, you're going to lose what you paid for.
They're trying to keep you
a lot more people are going to, they're going to be like, oh, I'm not going to, swear. I'm not going to be mean to that little kid online.
You don't truly own what you pay for anymore.
Well, you're renting the new systems.
Yeah, I mean, with Steam, as good as Steam is as a service, you don't really own those games. They exist on your hard drive, but you can't play them without Steam.
Yeah, Steve showed me his list of games he's owned, and it's impressive. He's got a huge list. He just keeps scrolling. But I can walk in my house and look at every game I own.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of went digital a while ago just to save space, and I haven't really turned back. I don't download my PlayStation games. I do buy them on disc, and I doubt I will do that on the PlayStation 4 should I buy one. But it's getting more and more convenient, and the more we head towards the digital age, the better price point we can hit. Because you will start to see sales. Steam already has those crazy sales to begin with, and if a system goes primarily digital, you'll see that on there too.
So I think Microsoft really has the inside track on that, but I don't think they're ever going to really take it and run with it, because they could have went digital only with this generation and said, you know what, you like Steam, we're gonna make a console Steam.
They wouldn't be. I mean, you wouldn't be able to do it yet. The internet infrastructure in this country just isn't there.
But they're trying to force you.
Yeah, they are trying to force you.
And they should just made it digital. If they wanted to go digital, make it digital. Don't give me a disc and tell me I can't sell it. Right. I know they did it years ago with PC, but that's a different thing. That's PC. That's not a console. If they don't want to call it a console, but they do want to call it a console, where does Microsoft stand?
It's an entertainment system.
Yes, it is an entertainment system, but Sony also called the PlayStation 3 the PlayStation 3 entertainment system. But I wasn't forced to be online with it all the time either.
Nintendo called it the Nintendo Entertainment System.
You had to be online all the time.
Yeah, you were connected to modem.
A lot more games would drop in price if they're like download only.
Yes.
The only problem I have is like I go on the PlayStation Network, or you can even go on Xbox Live, and there's still a lot of games, like me and Chris had a problem with, the original Black Ops a while ago, that they're still selling for $60.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's certain games that are like 4 years old that are still full price.
Yeah, even on Steam, there are some weird ones, like Fable 3 is still like $30 or something like that, and it's nowhere near that on consoles if you find a used copy. Some games just maintain their price for whatever reason it is. Either that publisher just doesn't care, or it's not going to sell to begin with, or something like that. But every once in a while, I go to look up a game on Steam to, number one, see if it's on there, and then if I do find it, I'm kind of appalled at the price, because it's a game that's been out for a while, and it's not that game isn't worth the money, but you get so used to things being on sale that it's just like, why isn't this $10 instead of $40 at this point?
Yeah, Steve really comes across a good point where actually, like we were talking about earlier, I'm playing Far Cry 3 right now, and I actually went on the network and they're doing a big E3 sale on PSN where I bought it for $30. I mean, it's still $45, $50 used, $60 new, and this is kind of where, Steam comes into play, where you get those deep discounts, and I took advantage of it, and I bought it for $30, and I think I got a good deal. And if either company decides to take advantage of that and do, like, a couple weeks after it come out, you know what, this is a struggling title, let's do a big chop down on it and sell a bunch of copies. But they're not going to.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is they're not going to do that. I think maybe if it's an in-house product, like if Microsoft decides to sell Halo really cheap really quick, which I don't see why they would, but just saying that an in-house studio game like that or Killzone, if it's struggling, sell a bunch of copies for nothing and make a crap load of money.
They did that with Forza Horizon on Black Friday.
Yes, $15, and I bought it.
$15.
If it's digital, they don't even have to worry about much of anything.
You eliminate manufacturing costs.
Yeah.
That's the big thing right there.
Yeah.
Shipping.
I still find it strange that PC games are sold in stores, because why?
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
They
some of them
even sell
some of them don't even have discs inside.
Well, the games that sell in stores are the big ones. EA,
annoying.
Ubisoft, Activision.
Nothing like buying a game case and opening it up to a piece of paper.
Yeah, it's like the last PC game I bought physically. I bought SimCity, and I did actually buy the physical version of it. I can't even remember why. I don't know why I just didn't download it, but
and they screwed you on it.
Yeah. I mean, the game is terrible, but. I don't even know why I did it. I'm sure I had a reason at the time, but I don't get why I did. It's gonna happen, within the next few years. Digital is gonna take over. It's coming.
It is, very slowly, but unfortunately it is.
Well, I don't think unfortunately. I think it's great.
Well, you like to save space.
They just need to make sure that you can hook up whatever hard drive you want to your console. If I want 6 terabytes on my PS4, I should be able to do it. If you're going to give me so many games for free, you shouldn't force me to delete ones.
Yeah.
I
agree with that.
Yeah.
You can do it. I mean, technically with the PS3, you can swap any SATA hard drive right in.
And with that, we are going to bring this thing to a close. Thank you for sticking with us. This has been a long one. So for those of you that stayed through the whole thing, we appreciate it. We will do this again soon. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Future podcasts will not be this long. It's just because of E3, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot to talk about, a lot to take in, but a lot to look forward to, and I think that's the most important thing. It's going to be a good year for video games, whether you have an Xbox One, a Wii U, or PlayStation 4, a Vita, 3DS, or PC. You got some great games coming now and on the horizon. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Pixel FM.